Dawn low 44, then tomorrow breezy with rain at times. High of 52. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Well, here's hoping your high school has your playoff football game tonight rather than tomorrow when it will be a little more rainy. 37 right now at O'Hare, 39 along the lakefront. Next news coming up at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Autumn Leaves Memory Care Communities, now open in Glen Ellen. Take a virtual tour at autumnleaves.com.
Good morning. Welcome to your Friday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
And it's a new era in Washington as Congressman Paul Ryan officially succeeds John Boehner as the new Speaker of the House, second in line to the presidency.
I leave with no regrets, no burdens. If anything, I leave the way I started. Just a regular guy, humbled by the chance to do a big job.
We are not settling scores. We are wiping the slate clean.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson. So, a new era in D.C. You have John Boehner exiting and Paul Ryan entering. And so the question is, will we see House Republicans turn the page or continue to read from the same script? 312-642-5600 is the turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, the turnkey.pro text line. Paul Ryan, in his acceptance speech yesterday, Amy, struck, all the notes you would expect him to strike, or any incoming speaker to strike, a note of bipartisanship.
Yeah, we're going to wipe the slate clean.
Well,
Everything that happened in the past, you're going to leave at the door.
Well, that was a matter of internal party business, but this was the moment of bipartisanship, so to speak.
We are not settling scores. We are wiping the slate clean.
Oh, that wasn't.
That was him.
Well, that was him talking essentially to the Freedom Caucus. You could argue it was also a message to the Democrats, but it was really about the internal workings of the House Republican caucus. But he also had this to say.
You know, as I stand here, I can't help but think of something Harry Truman once said. The day after Franklin Roosevelt died, Truman became president, and he told a group of reporters, "If you ever pray, pray for me now." When they told me yesterday what had happened, I felt like the moon, the stars, and all the planets had fallen on me. We should all feel that way. A lot is on our shoulders. So if you ever pray, let's pray for each other. Republicans for Democrats, and Democrats for Republicans.
But the Freedom Caucus didn't like that.
Yeah.
Did the Freedom Caucus, did they even clap at that?
Why wouldn't they? I don't think the Freedom Caucus is opposed to prayer. Paul
No,
Ryan
praying for Democrats and praying for each other.
Yeah. Paul Ryan, you'll find if you haven't paid much attention to him or forgotten from his run with Mitt Romney in 2012, he's not a guy. I had the opportunity to talk to him a few times on the air on another station, and he is not a guy with a great sense of humor. He's not a yuck it up kind of guy. He is, so here's the good news. The good news is he's about as square and put together as you're going to get. He is a straight arrow.
Uh-huh.
But he is not going to be the guy with the lampshade on Friday night.
Well, he was in a fraternity at Miami of Ohio. He was a Delta to a Delta. So there was a little bit of a fun side, but you don't see those photos going around. But yeah, he's a serious man. He'll be taken seriously. And you're looking at the next Republican president of these United States, I think. He has the best shot of becoming the next Republican president. Because we're not going to win this round. I'm sorry. We're not.
I'm sorry. Breaking news. We have breaking news here.
Well, yeah, because
the Republicans have conceded the 2016 election.
Well, who's the number one?
What are you talking about?
Who could beat Hillary Clinton?
Any of them?
You think? I don't know. Maybe I spent too much time at a soccer game with my liberal friends, men and women, yesterday, who were
Maybe
like,
you
okay,
did.
good luck with that. They were all laughing at the debate, saying Donald Trump's your choice. He's trying to rip 11 million people out of this country, and he doesn't have a plan for how to do it. So good luck with him beating Hillary Clinton. But anyway, they all like Paul Ryan. They're all glad that he's speaker.
I would love to have a focus group with your liberal friends, these
yes.
unnamed anonymous liberal friends
Well,
you
once
always
my
refer to.
ex-husband, he would love to call into the show. I'm like, then call into the show.
Oh, he
Please.
should, because these fact-free opinions and this rather
Oh yeah, they believe Republicans are racist,
right.
and oh wait, what's the other thing? Oh, we don't care about minorities and
Right.
all that.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm the only one who's a Republican on my block, and I'm the only one who actually volunteers, and I'm the only one who actually gives to certain charities. They don't care. They don't. Yeah.
So it would be fascinating to inquire more rather than just allowing these folks to get away with their kind of fact-free pronouncements about what is and is not and what is and or is not going to happen. And it would also be instructive for me. It really would, because I want to understand what's happening in Illinois with multiple generations of Chicago Democrat leadership. I mean, is this going well, and I just don't see it? And if it's not going well, what's the problem?
Well, do you realize the people I was speaking with yesterday? They live in these huge mansions.
Of
How
course
much
they
more
do.
in property taxes you're going to have to pay? Do you have a clue? How much more? Do you even care?
No. But you're missing the point. You just mentioned it. They are insulated from terrible public policy because they live in these big mansions. So another couple grand in property taxes doesn't mean anything to them because they console themselves by saying, "Well, this is me paying my fair share, so the government can go out and do all these wonderful things for the poor and the downtrodden." These minorities that, according to them, Republicans don't like. So when Paul Ryan, for example, has the amount of time Paul Ryan has spent going to African American communities and trying to build relationships to non-traditional Republican constituencies, at least non-traditional in the last 40 years, that was just all show. But when Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama does it, that's sincere. Well, how have minority families fared under President Obama, for example? How have minority families fared under the Chicago Democrats that have lorded over the city of Chicago for a century, for over the state for the last 4 decades? Is that going well? Your big government policies that you blindly support,
Well,
it's not just that it's not going well. It's that you're actually complicit in destroying other people's lives. And I would just like to plumb the depths of their knowledge on these topics because they purport to be very certain about things.
Oh, yeah. And I'm telling you, to them, being a Democrat is a religion because you're helping others. The party I belong to, we help people. We help those in need. So they don't go to church. No, hear me out.
Grade school.
They don't go to church.
This
Their
is grade
religion
school.
is being a Democrat.
They are what they need to be confronted with is that they are unserious people. They are the polar opposite of Paul Ryan. They and all you would have to do is almost do like a Leno jaywalking bit where you ask him 10 questions that anybody who's serious as a
They
serious.
don't even know who their state senator is. Let's start with the basics.
It doesn't matter who their state senator is.
It's John Cullerton.
As I said, it doesn't matter who their state senator is. You can switch them in and switch them out. It doesn't matter. That's part of the problem. All you have to do is set a baseline of knowledge to really examine how much they know, which is indicative of how much they care about these things for which they say they care so much. It would be a fascinating discussion. So please, I'll block time. We can just have a half an hour where it's just Amy's heretofore anonymous friends that call in, and you have the floor. 2 minutes on why you're a Democrat. 2 minutes on why Hillary is good for America. 2 minutes on why Barack Obama has done such a wonderful job, or Rahm, or Mike Madigan, or your Senator John Cullerton.
They didn't even know it was their state senator.
Or anybody else. I just want to hear it. The Republicans are racist and they're just for the rich, and Democrats help people. That is kindergarten blather. That is, you want to talk about, to borrow a John Harwoodism, you want to talk about comic book people. That's what these people, they're comic book people. You are not a fully actualized three-dimensional person if that's the best that you have to offer. Because, of course, it's not reflective of the truth, and it's so easy to just flick it, and it all comes apart. And then what do they have? Which is why I wish, the big tough people who know so much and are so disgusted by these hateful raises, big business.
All the Republicans are clowns. And did you see that clown act last night on TV?
I
heard it all yesterday.
Big business addled Republicans. I know the rap. Everybody's a clown. Everybody's in bed with big business. Not them. Not their people. I want to hear it. I want to hear
they're
it.
Democrats. They're godly people. Their party gives to the poor and downtrodden.
No, they don't.
And minorities.
They don't.
That's what they believe. And I've tried time and time and again to tell them that Republicans care and that Republicans aren't racist.
Well, let's have a little intervention.
You want to know who gave more money, Barack Obama or Mitt Romney, to charities? Mitt
please.
Romney did.
Yeah, this is.
Well, they don't even know that. They're that blind. They will not listen.
Well, right. So let's do it one of two ways.
Do an intervention. All right, what do you propose, and I'll try to work it out.
Either they can come to the mountain, or to use an analogy, which would they be comfortable, or Mohammed will come to them. I'm happy to do an intervention at the soccer game.
You could.
Yeah.
I mean,
we'll
no
gather
one was
around.
even watching the soccer game. Everyone was just arguing.
Well,
and
why would you watch
okay,
soccer?
easy. It was a good game.
I just lost Mike Scott every time I make a soccer. He looks at me a crack about soccer. He's like John Cass. They get really upset with me, so I got to be careful. I can't lose too many allies to this intervention. I may need some backup.
See Sean Hannity and Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland at Freedom Summit Chicago on November 14th. Tickets on sale at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Coming up for your Halloween weekend, today it's going to be warmer with clouds and sunshine. What you'll notice is there's no wind today. That's great. A high of 55 degrees. Saturday for trick-or-treating, it's not going to be a treat. It's going to be breezy with rain at times, a high of 52. And on Sunday, pleasant and warm with plenty of sunshine, a high of 64. And don't forget to set your clock backs. It's daylight savings weekend. Here's Jim Talamonte with the travel times.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. CTA Brown Line trains are stopped right now at Kimball. Inbound trains or loopbound trains are stopped. There's a derailment there, and crews are working on it at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on that situation. On the other hand, for the first time in months, Yellow Line trains are running. They're on schedule. Rides are free from the Dempster and Oakton stops in Skokie through next Friday. Riders boarding at Howard still pay full fare. 8094 eastbound traffic is jammed from Klein to Chase. An overnight crash still has 4 left lanes blocked. Aside from little road work, the other expressways and tollways for now look good. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Hi, Tom Sadeka, CEO of Precision Payroll of America. We're the 32-year-old company whose first employee and first client are still working together. If you are like me and are listening to this station, chances are we hold some common values and truths we hold self-evident. That's the main reason Precision Payroll attracts great clients and great employees. Precision Payroll of America operates at the core with fundamental principles that drive our attitude and delivery of service. We work hard to provide the best in pricing and value. In addition, with our great team that has been with us a long time, you are ensured a lasting relationship with people who understand your needs and always stand ready to serve. What sets us apart is that we view what we do as a great opportunity to serve others in a professional and technical capacity while building long-lasting relationships. That's what we treasure. If this message hits home, please call me at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507 or on the web at precisionpayroll.com.
If you have sleep apnea, this isn't a radio commercial. It's a gift. The gift of sleeping in total comfort anywhere you want, thanks to Transcend, the world's very first mini CPAP. Because right now, we'll give you the opportunity to try Transcend absolutely risk-free for a full 10 days. Call us now, 1-800-775-3319. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend Mini CPAP is as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound, giving you the freedom to sleep in total comfort anywhere. For even more freedom, you can add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. Transcend is so small and so light you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Give yourself the gift of sleeping comfortably anywhere, anytime you want. Call minicpap.com now for your 10-day in-home trial. 1-800-775-3319. That's 1-800-775-3319.
Hi, Dr. Kobaba here. Let me give you some details on today's Health Quest special. It's our quick test, a 30-second test to make a quick assessment of your current state of health. We'll test your metabolic engine, your percentage of fat weight, measure your lifespan of your cells, calculate your vitality factor, susceptibility to diseases, conditions, and infections. We'll measure your body's mass index and more. Reserve your quick test appointment today and we'll include, free of charge, your report of findings with me on that very same day. So get your quick test and report of findings with me, and then I'll give you some simple instructions to follow for 30 days to improve your health, and then, well, you'll come back to be retested, and then we'll strategize from there. If you reserve your quick test with us today, well, you're going to get your second one at half the price. That's right. So call our Health Quest Radio hotline, 800-794-1855. Please do it now. That's 800-794-1855.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy talking about Paul Ryan and whether or not Amy's liberal friends can be salvaged. Greg in LaGrange.
Hi, good morning. Why, Dan, I'd ask you a question because I face this down almost daily. Why are we attempting to save these people? We can only present the facts to them. We can only present the world as it is to them. We can only present the trajectory that we're on to them. And if they don't choose to listen to our sermon, why save them? We're giving them everything they need, but yet they still walk around blindly expecting everything for free.
Well, here's one thing I would say, Greg, is don't assume people have read the books that you've read. Don't assume people have heard the arguments that you've heard. Don't assume people know what you know. And so you're right. Not everybody is a reasonable person that's open-minded, that's willing to consider evidence. But there are some people, and people change their minds all the time. I mean, if they didn't, we wouldn't have had Barack Obama elected twice at the same time we got House and Senate control by Republicans. Those were people that were Obama voters and then voted for Republican House or Senate candidates, some of them. So people move around. Not everybody, but some people do. And I think you at least have to offer up the evidence, and if people just kind of give their knee-jerk, well, you're just a racist because I disagree with you, well, then you move on. That's all. Thanks for the call, Greg. Ann on the north side.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Yes, I was watching the debate. I thought it was very interesting. These 15, 17 Republican men, they remind me of the Founding Fathers. They have one thing in mind, to dissolve this leftist government and administration of Barack Obama. I think they can form a new government right now if they chose to. I can't see how choosing one man for president and letting all this potential go by the wayside. I mean, there may be a Benedict Arnold among them, but they seem to be very dedicated to this country. And Barack Obama runs this country or this world not from the White House, but he runs it from his social media. He can instantaneously reach millions of people. And also, he gives billions of dollars to the Syrian rebels. Now, these rebels are coming back here as refugees with billions of dollars, and that's why Germany and these countries are taking them in, because they're leaving with gold and silver.
Thanks for the call, Ann. Appreciate it.
We have a text message in our turnkey.pro text line. 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment. This one from 847. Unfortunately, Amy may be right. A couple people at my work don't like Trump or Carson, so they said they have no choice but to vote for Hillary. What reasoning?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Well, do you like Hillary? It's a referendum on the incumbent. The incumbent is Hillary. These are not complicated conversations, but again, a lot of people just have never heard the point of view, and so people have to offer it, and see if people are willing to engage constructively, and then if they're not, you just move on and go about your merry way. That's all. Speaking of the debate, the good piece by Ben Dominic in The Federalist, and we're going to have Molly Hemingway from The Federalist on at the top of the 8 o'clock hour, who predicted what happened in terms of John Harwood's performance. He writes, Dominic in The Federalist, this morning, John Harwood is still tweeting that he accurately cited Tax Foundation and the Tax Foundation analysis of Marco Rubio's tax plan after the head of the Tax Foundation said he didn't. We're not mad at the moderators for being tough. We're mad at them for being dumb. there's a difference. I think that's an important difference. I think he points it out. And here's another example of a dumb moderator. This Mad Money goof, Jim Cramer, who was allowed to ask a couple of questions because they had to rotate in everybody who's ever been on MSNBC to ask a question. Or CNBC, excuse me.
Yeah, it was like, we have substitution.
Right.
Come on in.
Here's Jim Cramer doing his post-game on the debate.
Yes, I mean, they're running for president. They're running against everyone. They're running against the media.
Mainstream media.
There's a bit of a mean-spirited to it that I didn't care for. If they all hate the government so much, why would they want to work for the government? I mean, the government was on trial. Media was on trial. I think the economy should be on trial. We stick with that, and would have been a little more holistically way to be able to make sense of things. But they're running for president, Chris.
Yeah. Right. If they hate the government so much, why do they want to be in it? I mean, this is the level of analysis you get from a financial expert on CNBC who tells people where to invest their money. Maybe he's good at telling people where to invest their money. I find that he isn't. But I think he's like just another huckster. He should be on an infomercial, not CNBC. But this is what happens sometimes when you get these financial sector people in this arena. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. I don't think there's any Republican candidate that I'm familiar with that is saying to dismantle the federal government. I think they're saying that the federal government spends too much, tries to do too many things that it's not good at, and it has a tendency to trample on people's rights and interests. And that's a big problem. And here's 40,000 examples of what we're talking about, which is why government needs to be smaller and do less things and kind of operate within the four corners of the Constitution. That's the same thing as I don't want to work for government. I hate government. How silly. How silly. But it's reflective of what we saw from CNBC on Wednesday night.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Founded in 1922, Unico National is the largest Italian-American service and charitable organization in America with over 120 local chapters in 22 states. Its volunteer members support scholarships, cancer research, mental health, Cooley's anemia, and many local causes while celebrating their Italian heritage. Chicagoland Unico chapters invite you to this special free event. Rediscover your Italian heritage. Wednesday, November 4th at Casa Italia in Stone Park. Join your neighbors of Italian heritage for an evening of enjoyment with Italian food tastings, Italian lessons, cultural info, and more. Plus the opportunity to join Unico. This is a free event, but reservations are required. Call 1-800-947-0137 to reserve your spot. 800-947-0137 or visit unico.org. That's UNICO.org. Unico National. Rediscover your Italian heritage. 800-947-0137 or unico.org. That's UNICO.org.
Looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing home, then you need to do what Amy did when she needed a mortgage, and that's called David Hochberg at Pearl Mortgage. Susan called for reverse mortgage information on behalf of her 80-year-old father who owns a $400,000 home, free and clear, and earns $80,000 a year. David answered Susan's questions and explained the benefits of reverse mortgages. David then advised Susan to secure a HELOC instead of a reverse mortgage because it was her father's best option. All the other reverse mortgage experts Susan spoke with tried hotboxing Susan's father into doing a reverse mortgage, while David told her a HELOC was a better option for her father at the time. If you or your family is interested in a reverse mortgage and you want to work with a lender that'll always look out for your family's financial best interest, do what Amy did and do what Susan did and call David 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. Or visit am560david.com. That's am560david.com. David's helped Amy and Susan and thousands of AM560 listeners, but he can't help you if you don't call. So call David 312-751-1333. Again, 312-751-1333. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage License C4358, licensed by DBO under California RMLA and MLS 19186. PearlMortgage.com/licensing.
AM 560, The Answer.
And coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
Marco Rubio said at the debate that the media is Hillary's super PAC, and Charlie Rose proved him correct.
and wait until you hear how much money two of the top candidates raised by just that debate alone. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. 41 degrees on this Friday morning and a jet plane's engine fire. catching ablaze just as it prepared for takeoff on Florida, forcing evacuations. More than 100 passengers had to evacuate with those inflatable emergency slides. One person was seriously injured going down the slide of the Dynamic Airways flight bound for Caracas, Venezuela. The government will stay open. Bills will get paid under legislation given final approval by Senate Republicans and Democrats early this morning. A deal struck between the GOP leadership and Democrat leadership, and Republican presidential candidate Senator Rand Paul said early this morning he doesn't back the budget deal because it raises the debt ceiling and raises spending.
It's a rotten deal. It's not conservative. It's going to explode the debt. It's exactly everything I'm opposed to. So I don't know that I'm trying to make enemies. I'm just trying to do what I told the taxpayers of Kentucky I would do, and that's not add more debt.
Congressional leaders were intent on steering away from shutdown threats that have haunted Democrats and Republicans for years. The House of Representatives has a new speaker. Republican Paul Ryan took over for John Boehner yesterday, retiring from Congress after 25 years.
If you had a good idea, if you worked hard, you could make it happen. You could improve people's lives. To me, the House of Representatives represents what's best of America, the boundless opportunity to do good.
Ryan, the GOP vice presidential nominee in 2012. Director Roman Polanski in a Polish courtroom today. Court is expected to rule on a U.S. request to extradite the filmmaker over a child sex crime conviction. You may recall Polanski pleaded guilty in 1977 to having unlawful sex with a minor and actually served part of a prison plea deal. The famous director then fled the U.S. on the eve of his formal sentencing in 1978. A fugitive hunt that began in Tennessee nearly a week ago has ended in Kentucky, where a suspect was shot and killed by authorities. Floyd Cook opened fire after being confronted by state troopers and a federal marshal who were searching for Cook, who is accused of shooting a Tennessee police officer and firing at a Kentucky state trooper. Greek authorities say 21 are dead after two boats carrying migrants and refugees from Turkey to Greece sank overnight. Health officials in Oregon this morning say a teen girl has contracted bubonic plague. The girl believed to have contracted the disease from a flea bite during a hunting trip. The trip began October 16. Suburban Chicago man has pleaded guilty to allegations he tried to join ISIS militants. The plea deal unsealed yesterday. Says prosecutors are recommending 5 years in prison for Mohammed Khan. And the CTA Yellow Line is up and running today for the first time in over 5 months after a May embankment collapse. Winnipeg beat the Blackhawks 3-1. Tonight on the hard court, it's the Bulls and Pistons. In the news, the service of Boys and Girls Clubs of America. 3 p.m., school's out for America's kids. And when school's out, clubs are in. It's time to back Boys and Girls Clubs. Visit greatfutures.org. A check of traffic and weather comes your way next on AM 560.
I think America is dying.
The Joe Walsh Show.
Everybody came here to be free. Everybody came here to strike it out on their own. Everybody wanted government to stay out of their hair. Everybody wanted to be free. Not today. We have way too many people in America who no longer want that America.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer is the top choice of doctors and nurses nationwide and should be yours. With one scan to the forehead, Exergen Temporal Scanner provides an accurate temperature, stress-free. Available at Walgreens.
What could you do with an extra $500, $1,000, or even $1,500 per month? How would that change things for you? Would you buy a new car, pay off bills, or just feel a bit more secure about your retirement? What if I told you there may be a way to make your dreams a reality? I'm talking about trading and investing in the market. Now, before you say, oh no, that's not for me, just hear me out. I want to invite you to a free trading and investing class so you can check this out. And right now, if you call in and mention Offer Radio 50, Online Trading Academy will comp the class and even send you home with a free $247 home study program. Call right now and reserve your seat while space is still available. Call 888-601-TRADE. Call 888-601-TRADE. Mention Offer Radio 50. Call 888-601-TRADE. 888-601-TRADE or online at otaclass.com. That's 888-601-8723 or otaclass.com.
537. Quick update on the roads now in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. And here's Jim.
If you're headed to Northwest Indiana, Mike, you'll want to consider something other than eastbound 8094. It's jammed from Kennedy to Chase, where an overnight crash leaves 4 left lanes blocked. Expect some delays on the inbound Eisenhower now. In fact, it's stop and go approaching around Manheim. Just a brief delay. It's Stevenson slow, Damon to the Ryan, with a stalled truck reported on the ramp to the inbound Ryan. Traffic is a service of Illinois Partners for Clean Air. Why stress over parking, traffic, and gas prices? You've got endless options available with public transit. Get on board with saving time, money, and improving air quality. Learn to breathe easy and save easy with Illinois Partners for Clean Air, cleantheair.org. It's traffic on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. A warmer day ahead with clouds and sunshine. High 55, 37 right now. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by MyPainChicago.com. World-class treatment for chronic pain. Go to MyPainChicago.com.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
So you remember Rubio, one of Rubio's moments, in addition to undressing Jeb, and that's not a particularly attractive image. I concede the point. I'll choose
Can you choose your words differently,
choose
please?
my metaphors, yes, more
Where's
carefully.
the Rubio?
But one of his other moments was this moment.
Which moment? This moment? You mean this one? Or
Can I respond?
yes,
I
yes,
need,
you may.
okay. You know, the Democrats have the ultimate super PAC. It's called the mainstream media. Who every single day.
Yeah.
Boom.
Take that.
Yeah.
The crowd goes home happy.
Yes. That's what Jim Cramer refers to as mean-spirited.
Jim Cramer is weird.
Yes.
He's the creepy. He looks like the creepy old man in the, park with a bag full of candy, if you know what I'm saying.
I don't.
Was that too graphic?
Yes, and I thought the undressed Jeb was bad. But Rubio took to the Charlie Rose morning news program there, and then Charlie Rose proceeded to prove exactly what Rubio said the evening before in their exchange about Hillary Clinton. Apparently, Charlie Rose not aware of Hillary's testimony during her appearance before the Benghazi committee. Listen to this exchange.
But I've never personally attacked anybody in this race, and I'm not going to start now. If other people decide they want to change who they are,
you called
they
Hillary
can go
Clinton
ahead.
a
I'm not gonna do
liar,
that.
Senator. You called Hillary Clinton a liar.
Well, no, I said Hillary Clinton lied about Benghazi. There's no doubt about that, Charlie. I mean, there are emails in which she was talking to her family, and she was telling them that there was an attack on that consulate that was due to a terrorist attack by al-Qaeda elements, and then she was going around the country talking to the families of the victims and to the American people and saying, no, this is because of some video that someone produced
Senator,
that led to a spontaneous
you know that the
uprising. She
CIA was
absolutely lied
changing.
about
The
it.
CIA was changing its own assessment of what happened there during that time zone.
That's not accurate. It was clear from the very early moments after that attack that it was not a spontaneous uprising. It was a planned attack, well orchestrated by people that brought armaments to that attack that you would never see as part of a spontaneous uprising. What was very clear is that from the very early moments of that attack, she knew that it was a terrorist attack, as she shared by email with various people. And yet she continued to perpetuate the lie.
If you're calling her
that
a
this was
liar
something
by
different.
saying she perpetuated a lie, then why do you think she did that? What was her motive?
Well, that's very clear why. Because they were in the middle of a 2012 re-election in which President Obama had made the claim that al-Qaeda was being defeated and on the run, and this counteracted that narrative.
You were saying, Senator, that Hillary Clinton lied because she wanted to help Barack Obama in his re-election campaign. That's a serious charge.
Yes.
That's what it was. I mean, is Charlie Rose in bed with Hillary? Dear Lord.
I
How
like
could CBS executives let him ask that line of questioning?
I like Charlie Rose. I mean, I enjoy his program on PBS. I like him because Bill Buckley liked him. But I mean, was he on vacation where he didn't have any access to electronic communication? I want to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Jeez.
But wait a second. You're saying Hillary didn't tell the?
Well, why would she do that? Because they were 6 weeks away from an election. Dum.
Yeah. Well,
maybe he did take the week off.
For the same reason Susan Rice was trotted out to the Sunday talk shows to tell that story. For the same reason that Barack Obama, when he spoke to the UN, told the same story. I mean, it's fascinating. So Charlie Rose is adopting a spin that he's even more aggressive than Hillary Clinton's. So the CIA is changing its story. Ignore Hillary Clinton's own words on the night of the attack. Ignore her communications to heads of state, like the Egyptian president, the day after the attack. Ignore all that because the CIA was changing its story. So she gets a complete. I mean,
she told the Egyptian prime minister that it was Al Qaeda attack. She called the president of Libya and said, "Hey, do you have a friendly militia that could help us out because we're under attack by Al Qaeda?"
Well,
Charlie Rose.
So this is why. I mean, it's just a great example. I mean, and the timing couldn't be better after frankly Republicans turned the table in terms of the whack-a-mole on media, which is what the media normally does to Republicans on Wednesday night. So it was, Marco Rubio was showing great restraint and just walking Charlie Rose through, the last 6 months of news, including the last 2 weeks, importantly.
Rubio is doing so well. His stock is rising, as I always say. He alone, in one day, because of that GOP debate performance, raised $1 million.
Yeah, well.
Well, that's...
So did Bernie Sanders for what?
Well, because he did well, and so did Ted Cruz.
Yeah, they did
Jeb
well.
Bush didn't get much more money from donors. In fact, some donors want to back out. But, it just is proof that Rubio won and hit a home run during that debate.
You know who else was raising money? The Clinton Foundation.
Oh.
A good Bloomberg story out. The Clinton Foundation in 2015 with one of their principals in absentia, because, she's running for president, raised more money the first 3 quarters of 2015 than in the first 3 quarters of 2014. So here we go again, is big corporate rent-seeking interests donating to the Clinton Foundation in addition to whatever they're doing for the campaign and associated Hillary super PACs to have a seat at the table with these notorious influence peddlers because they know what they can get if by some chance Hillary were to be elected, and that is access and contracts and all kinds of other good stuff at everyone else's expense. So interesting to watch the Clinton Foundation too. You don't just watch the campaign funds when you're talking about the Clintons. And then this little kicker to the media is Hillary's super PAC. Mm-hmm. And I'm not one to, the media bias is built in. We've known this for 40 years. Gallup has done exit polling of journalists, of Washington Press Corps journalists, use that term loosely, 82 to 93% over the last 10 election cycles voted for the Democrat candidate. So it's built in. I know it, but it doesn't mean that you completely dismiss it. It doesn't mean that you don't stay on offense against it, because you should know what you're up against and stop, as some Republicans try to do, sidle up and be the media's favorite Republican. It never works out well, John McCain. But in addition to the Charlie Rose example, then there's this story about media actually essentially functioning as the super PAC that Marco Rubio quipped it was. Top fundraisers for Clinton include lobbyists who serve the parent companies of CNN and NBC, MSNBC. The National Association of Broadcasters, which represents the television industry, has lobbyists who are fundraising for both Clinton and Marco Rubio. Time Warner is represented by a Capitol Hill lobbyist named Steve Elmendorf, an advisor to Clinton during her 2008 campaign, who's also one of Washington's top lobbyists. He's a bundler. Comcast, the parent company of NBC, which includes all the associated NBC networks, has a number of lobbyists on retainer working to raise cash for the Clinton campaign, including Justin Gray, Alfred Motor, Ingrid Duran, and Catherine Pino. So, literally, the media going to work for the Clintons.
I mean, NBC gave Chelsea Clinton a 6-figure, I think $500,000 $600,000 job to do 7 reports. She did 7 stories, and she didn't execute them well. You'd think with that kind of cash, maybe she'd get a coach to help her.
I thought each one of those stories was at least worth $100,000.
They were horrible. I mean, they're, the Make a Difference, warm, fuzzy segment at the end of the show that makes you want to cozy up and give Lester Holt a big kiss.
Make a difference.
Yeah.
Donate to the Clinton Foundation.
Right. Because one of the topics was a Clinton Foundation donor.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. I know that's shocking for you, Dan.
That's the family business. Kevin in Libertyville.
Good morning, guys. Hey, I've been trying to say this for as long as I can and as long as I can say it for anyone who will listen. The cut that is what has been entirely ignored with the debate was Marco Rubio and the Super PAC and his follow-up statement, which you guys cut off, but it follows right after that, talking about what happened in the hearing about Hillary Clinton changing her story about to her family and to others as opposed to what she said in the public.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
And the media, I don't know whether it was because it happened so late in the day that the media just ignore it. And someone like Charlie Rose, I just think he's clueless. He has no clue that it even happened. And it needs to get out there because that's simple enough for everyday Americans to understand. A lie is a lie is a lie. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She cannot cover it up. She can't change it. It's there. And I don't know why, but no one's covering it. And I thought that, to me, was the most important aspect for the Republicans to get out in that debate.
Thanks for the call, Kevin. Yeah, I mean, the media is so consumed with saying Hillary withstood the 11-hour interrogation. They're not interested in the substance. They're interested in kind of the horse race and the political optics of it, which is not journalism, but that's okay. We expect it. Here's something else we expect from that witches brood on The View.
I watched it yesterday.
Yeah, they had some comments on the debate, too. I'll go with our Diamond and Silk over The View anytime. But listen to the ladies. Commenting on Carly Fiorina. Positively Trumpian, wouldn't you say?
You know what Carly said, which really made me laugh?
3 pages. 3 pages. 3 pages.
She kicked off, I don't know what's happening, she kicked off her thing saying, people tell me that I didn't smile enough during the last debate. She looked demented. I mean, she did not, her mouth did not downturn one time. She was like,
Halloween mask. I love that.
A smiling Fiorina. Can you imagine?
I think demented is a strong word, but it looked like she'd been practicing that for a long time. And she did get some information from Trump.
She means demented.
Paula Ferris, what are you doing?
Well, Paula Ferris chimed in to try and push back, but what wasn't the opprobrium directed at Trump when he made the look at that face comment? Well, what's the difference between what Trump did? And I think all politicians should be subject to ridicule. It doesn't bother me. It's just the hypocrisy of the left and these quote unquote feminists, right? They're
not supporting women.
Easy to pile on Trump, but when they want to go after Carly Fiorina for her looks, that's just all fun and games, isn't it?
Don't miss Freedom Summit Chicago 2015 on November 14th with Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland. Get your tickets at freedomsummitchicago.com.
312-642-5600. Some phone calls next. But first, here is your forecast for this Halloween weekend. It's going to be warmer today. No wind. You'll notice that as soon as you step outside, so that's a gift. Plenty of sunshine today, mild, a high of 55 degrees. Saturday, trick-or-treating day, it's going to be breezy with rain. Sorry, kiddies, a 70% chance of showers, mostly in the morning, a high of 52. And on Sunday, it's going to be pleasant and warmer. Plenty of sunshine, a perfect day for your Bears-Vikings game at Soldier Field, a high of 64. Let's get the travel times and see if it's good out on the roadways. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Good morning, Amy and Dan. Not so good on eastbound 8094. There was a major overnight crash and vehicle fire. It's still getting cleaned up. 4 left lanes are blocked at Chase. That's before Grant. And it's jammed from Kennedy Avenue to Chase. Major delays with only the right lane and shoulder open. The Indiana Toll Road is fine as an alternate. Inbound Eisenhower, heavy now between Manheim and First. 31 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Stevenson, 38 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 20 minutes, 95th to the Loop. CTA Brown Line has some residual delays after an apparently minor derailment near Kimball. Yellow Line trains are operating again today. They're on their regular schedule. Free rides from the Skokie, and that's Dempster and Oakton stops. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
You've heard me talking about the new website, upstream-ideas.com. If you haven't checked it out yet, then you're missing thoughtful expository content that you won't find anywhere else from those who have operated in the political and policy arenas. Each week, you can watch the latest episode of Against the Current, our long-form interview series with policymakers and opinion leaders offering in-depth insights on the big issues of the day. Coming up next is Steve Moore. You can also watch Illinois by the Numbers, our video series that breaks down Illinois one number at a time to explain what the policy challenges are, why we have them, and what we can do about them. And you can check out highlights from each Sunday's Illinois Rising, which tackles state and local politics and policy with deep thinkers from the Illinois Policy Institute and Illinois Opportunity Project. At Upstream Ideas, questions are asked that don't get asked anywhere else. Points of view are heard that aren't not heard anywhere else. You can also check out an op-ed I did on Denny Hastert that was in the Tribune today. Learn how to change the rules of the game so that they cannot be gamed by the connected against the unconnected. Learn how to unfix systems and institutions that are wired against those who play by the rules. No sacred cows, no punches pulled. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
This is Amy Jacobson, and I want to thank all the AM 560 listeners who have purchased thousands of MyPillows over the last 18 months and are enjoying your best sleep ever. But that still leaves thousands of you who haven't taken advantage of the buy one, get one free offer. What are you waiting for? It's so important to get a great night's sleep. I can't live without mine. I even take it on vacations. It's American made, and when it gets dirty, just throw it in the washer and dryer. No need to take it to an expensive dry cleaner. So don't wait any longer. MyPillow helps with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia, allergies, and more. Plus, MyPillow is washable and keeps its shape to give you support where you need it most. That's why it was named the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. For the MyPillow buy one, get one free offer, visit MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201. Please use the promo code Amy. Do it now, 800-489-0201 or online at MyPillow.com. Promo code Amy, 800-489-0201.
Have you heard the phrase, all things basementy? Are you wondering what that means? Hi, I'm Roy Spencer. For over 36 years, Permaseal has been the company you've trusted with your waterproofing issues. But I want you to know that we're much more than just a waterproofer. From sump pumps and sewer backup prevention systems to crawl space encapsulation and basement windows, we offer everything necessary to keep your home dry and healthy. Are any of these concerns catching your attention? If so, give us a call at 800-421-SEAL to schedule a free, no-obligation inspection with one of our certified consultants. Our Permaseal team takes great pride in offering you a superior customer experience and the very best solutions for all of your basement, crawl space, and foundation repair issues. Give Permaseal a call today at 800-421-SEAL. All things basementy. Doesn't that make sense? 800-421-SEAL or visit Permaseal.net. Permaseal has earned an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau.
Young, best for free and better Permaseal.
AM 560, The Answer.
So the only reason why I ever watched The View is because of my friend Paula Ferris. We worked together at Channel 5, became very close. She's a very religious woman. She's a wonderful woman, a good mom. But how can she work with these witches? I mean, the left claims that they're all about equality and promoting and lifting up women. And these evil witches attacked Carly Fiorina because she's a Republican woman and they can't understand why a woman would become a Republican. They don't understand. So they attack her for just trying to be lighthearted and being unscripted and showing a little more character because that's what people wanted to see in Carly Fiorina. And she did that.
Yeah. Talk about looks. Living in glass houses. If you want to compare who's put together, Fiorina or that panel, with the exception of Ferris.
See Sean Hannity and Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland at Freedom Summit Chicago on November 14th. Tickets on sale at freedomsummitchicago.com.
This is Sam Gilberto, president of American Embroidery and Screen Printing and American Marketing Products. We specialize in putting your logo on just about anything. Our focus is entirely on you, our customer. We want every customer experience to be outstanding. American Embroidery and Screen Printing is a brick and mortar business located in Glendale Heights. Our equipment and manufacturing processes are state-of-the-art, so are the people who work here. With over 40 years experience, we have the capability, capacity, and know-how to get your job done right and on time. I want to earn your business, so for a limited time, we're offering free artwork on embroidery and screen printing orders for all new customers. Let us help you gear up for that at big trade show, provide shirts or jackets for all your employees, students, or church members, or simply provide you with giveaway items such as coffee mugs, pens, or hats. Whatever it is, you can trust an American to take care of it. It's easy to contact us. TrustAnAmerican.com. That's TrustAnAmerican.com, or call at 630-766-2825.
There are two kinds of pain. Pain that goes away and the worst kind, chronic pain. If you suffer from chronic pain, life is not complete and it can be miserable. Unfortunately, most people use narcotics that mask the pain. You need to find the source of the chronic pain and get relief.
This is Dr. Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. We're serious players in the management of pain, and our team are national leaders as well as being educators in the treatment of pain. We will work with you to diminish or eliminate your pain and help you get your life back. You know, there's a nationwide narcotics epidemic, and people are too quick to mask over chronic pain instead of looking for the cause and treating or eliminating the pain. Contact us. We will help you.
Go to mypainchicago.com. Call and make an appointment with some of the best pain people in the nation, located here in Chicago. mypainchicago.com. You or someone you know suffers. End the suffering of chronic pain. mypainchicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
Hi, honey, I'm home. How was your day?
Oh, don't ask.
Why? What happened? Or do I not want to know?
Well, the new carpet in the living room is ruined. Your daughter decided to have a tea party with her Mr. Fluffy Bunny and his friends. Now there are stains everywhere.
I never did like Mr. Fluffy.
That's already on top of the stains your teenage son made last week when he tracked mud all over the kitchen tile and sofa after football practice.
My teenage son? Well, I guess I'll need to talk to him.
Honey, we need to call Executive Green Carpet Cleaning today.
Executive Green understands family and the mess that sometimes comes with it. If it's been more than a year since you've had your carpet, upholstery, or tile and grout cleaned, you need to call Executive Green at 708-599-5151. They use their own purified water and a safe EcoGreen solution that won't leave a toxic residue for your next tea party. Best of all is the price. Only $139 for 3 rooms. Call 708-599-5151 now or schedule online at executivegreencarpetcleaning.com.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Governor Rauner and Tiny Dancer ratchet up the rhetoric. We'll have it at 6:06.
And it's the story of the day. Wait until you hear what the president of Louisville dressed up as for an early Halloween party. So bad, some are calling for his resignation. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, a Bolingbrook man pleads guilty in a terrorist case, and the CTA Yellow Line is finally up and running. Warmer today, clouds and sunshine. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. It's a done deal.
On this vote, the yeas are 64 and the nays are 35.
Senators approving a 2-year budget at around 3 o'clock this morning. Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
There was strong opposition in the Senate to the spending plan that puts off a fight over the debt ceiling, allowing the government to borrow more and avoids a partial government shutdown. Some Republican presidential candidates left the campaign trail to oppose the legislation, including Senators Ted Cruz and Rand Paul.
It's a rotten deal. It's not conservative. It's going to explode the debt.
But fellow White House contender Lindsey Graham called the agreement
a small step in the right direction. If I were president of the United States, I would cancel these defense cuts.
The legislation now on its way to the president's desk for his signature. Dave.
Now, Rachel, also early this morning, a manhunt in Kentucky ended in a hail of bullets. Fox News Radio's Tanya J. Powers has the update live.
Well, that shootout in Burkesville took down Floyd Ray Cook, who'd been on the run since shooting a Tennessee police officer during a traffic stop last Saturday. He'd also fired at a Kentucky state trooper. Billy Gregory is with the Kentucky State Police and says it was a tense pursuit.
You know, we didn't know where he was. And when you're searching in the dark, that's an uneasy feeling. You know, anybody could be hiding in a tree, around a tree, under a bush, or what have you.
Now, Cook, a sex offender, also had other convictions and was wanted for trafficking meth, Dave.
Tony, they feel lucky to be alive. The passengers have fled a burning plane when an engine caught fire at Fort Lauderdale's airport.
I heard like a bump, and I heard people screaming, running to the front. I'm like, what's happening? So I turn around and look in the window, and it's like flames.
21 passengers on the flight to Venezuela were injured. One fell and hit his head in the chaos and is still in a hospital. There are new recalls from automakers. Fiat Chrysler sending back 894,000 vehicles worldwide to fix problems with anti-lock brakes and airbags. Honda recalling more than 300,000 Accords because side airbags can inflate if a door is slammed too hard. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
38 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A suburban Chicago man has pleaded guilty to allegations he tried to join ISIS terrorists. Plea deal unsealed yesterday says prosecutors will recommend a 5-year prison term for Mohammed Khan if he cooperates with investigators. 5 months after the ground gave way under its tracks, the CTA's Yellow Line trains are ready to roll. AM 560's David Stewart with the update.
Service on the Yellow Line, also known by its old name, the Skokie Swift, was suspended in mid-May when a 90-year-old embankment near a bridge on the Yellow Line tracks collapsed. A Water Reclamation District construction project was the cause, but the effect was that the tracks were unusable until that embankment was built up again. After test runs earlier this week, the trains are now set to roll again between the CTA's Skokie shops on Oakton and Howard Street on Chicago's north side. Now the CTA has to rebuild the ridership on the Yellow Line. David Stewart, Chicago.
The cousin of a Chicago man serving an Indonesian prison sentence in his girlfriend's mother's death has pleaded not guilty to charges he assisted in a plot to kill the woman. 24-year-old Robert Bibbs entered that plea Thursday to 1 count of conspiracy in Chicago federal court. Prosecutors contend Bibbs texted tips from more than 9,000 miles away here in Chicago in hopes of getting a cut of the 62-year-old woman, Sheila Von Wiesmack's inheritance. He's free on home confinement. And Exelon's nuclear plant in Clinton will keep humming for at least another year, though the company will continue to push for pricing changes. Exelon had threatened to shut down the reactors in Clinton, Byron, and the Quad Cities, demanding lawmakers pass legislation giving the company the same clean energy pricing breaks given to solar and wind generators. Last night on the ice, Winnipeg beat the Blackhawks 3-1. Tonight on the hardwood, Pistons and Bulls. And back on the ice, the Hawks are back at it in the Twin Cities, taking on Minnesota at 7. The news service of Boys and Girls Clubs of America, 3 p.m. School's out for America's kids. And when school's out, clubs are in. It's time to support the Boys and Girls Clubs. Visit greatfutures.org. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
One event. One day only. One day only. With all of these names together. Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, KT McFarland, Katie Pavlich, and Guy Benson. It's Freedom Summit Chicago 2015, November 14th in Itasca. Tickets begin at just $29 and are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com. Don't miss this exclusive event. Go to freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com.
The following is a paid political announcement. I'm Willie Wilson, candidate for President of the United States. As President, I promise to reform our prison system and fix it once and for all.
Paid for by Willie Wilson 2016.
You live for it.
Stands in the pocket, waits to the near side, passes picked away.
You love it.
Now surrounded, down he goes. They'll sack him.
It's what you do every weekend. Every pass, run, tackle, and touchdown is right here on the Northern Illinois Husky Sports Network.
Tune in Tuesday, November 3rd at 7 p.m. as the Huskies take on the Toledo Rockets. Right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas. Great coffee. Period.
6:06, and in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center, we get the very latest with Jim Talamati.
Thanks, Michael. The big traffic issue of the morning remains eastbound 8094. It's just jammed solid from Kennedy Avenue to Chase. That's before Grant. An overnight crash, still leaving 4 left lanes blocked. Only the right lane and shoulder are open as cleanup continues there. Indiana Toll Road is fine if you're thinking of that as an alternate. Willowbrook, expect delays at 63rd and 83 where the signals are flashing red. You do have delays on the inbound Eisenhower, Manheim to First Avenue, 32 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 29. Edens, Kennedy still good, inbound Stevenson, 37 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Rhine is 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 18 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop 422. The CTA Yellow Line is back in service this morning, the same schedule it had before the embankment collapse led to months of no service, and rides are free for the next week from the Skokie, Dempster, and Oakton stops. traffic service of Think It Up. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Here is our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Clouds and sun today with a high 55. Cloudy with a little late-night rain. Tonight, low 44. Then breezy with rain at times. Tomorrow, high 52. Patchy clouds at night, low 44. Full day of sunshine for Sunday, high 64. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
39 at O'Hare, 43 along the lake. It is 33 this morning in Aurora. And your next news update is at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Heroes Talk Radio. Learn the secrets to planning a tax-free retirement income by listening to Heroes Talk Radio Saturday afternoons at 5.
Good morning. Welcome to your Friday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
And it's a new era in Washington as Congressman Paul Ryan officially succeeds John Boehner as the new Speaker of the House, second in line to the presidency.
I leave with no regrets, no burdens. If anything, I leave the way I started. Just a regular guy, humbled by the chance to do a big job.
We are not settling scores. We are wiping the slate clean.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson. I'm just looking at the weather forecast next week. I didn't know it's going to get back to 70 by next Wednesday.
Oh, I'm going to go golfing with my dad.
Nice.
Hey, Pops, set a tee time for Wednesday. It's going to be 70. All right. Too bad it's not going to be that on Halloween day.
Well, your dad's a good player, too, right?
Oh, he's really good.
No.
I'm not. Played golf at Purdue and played at Lane Tech, too. Went to Lane Tech High School. And
the Purdue thing is the impressive part.
Right.
You understand that.
Playing at Lane Tech and making the team was all guys' school back then, so that was an accomplishment. But I bet he could beat you. Oh, you know what? Actually, I'd like to see you and my dad.
What's his handicap?
I don't know.
What did he shoot the last time you played with him?
Last time I played with him, he got a 72.
He's going to have to give me a couple strokes.
Just what? 3 strokes?
No, I mean my index is like an 8.1 right now. So he's going to have to give me, I mean if he's playing to like a 1 or a 2, he's going to have to give me the strokes. And I'm like Jordan, it's $100,000 to open. Okay. I don't have a game unless we're playing for at least $100,000. It's the Jordan rules.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not my rules. Your dad's that's a good player.
He calls every day.
So he shoots his age or below his age.
Below his age, yeah.
That's nice. All right. So Ronner and Rahm.
Yes.
Boy, I want to hear from my Rahm Republicans. My tiny dancer Republicans. Please give us a call, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Because
what? You're looking at one. I still have his signs underneath my porch. They're rusting.
Yeah.
The metal parts where you stick in the ground.
Well, yeah, hang on to those because, he wants to run for re-election in 2019, so you said yesterday.
Yeah, he mentioned that after he raised our property taxes. On the way out of City Hall, somebody asked him, hey, are you going to run again in 2019? He said, yeah. Why not? I'm here for as long as I can stay.
Well, this is a good example where the Chicago Democrats understand politics is aligning interests. There are no friendships. So, you think, Rahm and Ron are they're fast buddies because Ronner made Rahm a multimillionaire, and he did. And Ronner and Rahm go vacationing together and go to their exclusive wine club together. Exactly, yes.
And how did Ronner make Rahm money? With some investment...
Private equity deal. Yeah. Oh, hey, here, Bruce Ronner, meet Bill Daley. And then, I get a couple points when he engineers the sale of SBC Ameritech, SBC to Ameritech.
$14 million off that deal?
Well, it was a couple of deals. But, it was essentially doing the middleman introductory stuff. So, yeah, It's nice. $18 million in about 18 months. That's not bad.
That's why he goes on all those fancy vacations.
So, but back to the aligning interests, do you think that Rahm has any compunction about demagoguing the governor?
Compunction and demagoguing in the same sentence. That is, whoa.
Especially for Friday.
I'm getting a hot flash over here.
Yeah.
Woo!
Any probably think he has any qualms about doing that. If it benefits him politically, push it off on the governor, even while, of course, he's looking for the state for all kinds of favors and bailouts. They play for keeps. They understand it's about aligning interests, the Chicago Democrats who've destroyed the state but continue to lord over it. And Republicans are usually in the business of offering surrender as the first order of business. Hi, I'm a Republican. I apologize. It's normally the posture in this state. And so Jay Levine put together an interesting piece yesterday on Channel 2 CBS on the increasing frost between the two erstwhile buddies. Starting with a statement that Rauner's office issued about Rahm and his unwillingness to sign on to support some of Rauner's structural reforms.
Rauner's communications chief issued a blistering statement attacking the mayor and his policies. He needs to get serious, Mike Schrimp said, about whether he is a reformer or just another tax and spend politician who wants to blame someone else for their failures. Is this relationship, which is so necessary, irreparably broken? I asked the mayor during an interview yesterday.
I find it, as I said, I'm asking you, Jay, go to anywhere else. Is there any other governor who is attacking their economic engine? Anywhere, Republican or Democrat. I think it's a bizarre strategy in an attempt to boost the economy of the state of Illinois, boost the attractiveness to the state of Illinois, that you would be attacking and hoping you break Chicago. You can have partisan differences, policy differences. I'm going to break Chicago as a way to get what I want on collective bargaining.
Governor Rauner, despite being in Chicago today, declined our request for an on-camera interview.
I think Rauner has, Tiny Dancer had his tutu on a little too tight.
Well,
Boy, octave.
Got a little bit of daily in him, like.
Yeah.
When I get
That's pretty good.
Thank you. I've been practicing for 18 years.
We're right up there with Marianne Ahern's impersonation of Rahm.
But I don't like when Rahm acts like the victim. Like, oh, and look at us. I mean, we're Chicago's economic engine for the state of Illinois, and how can he not help us? I mean, he's smarter than that.
He's going to help us. Has Rauner said he wants to break Chicago? What is it?
No.
I haven't heard of that. And is the economic engine the industry in Chicago, or is it city government? Because I think Rahm is a bit confused on that matter. Yeah. The economic engine is the private sector. It is not Rahm's personal fiefdom any more than it was Daley's personal fiefdom. This seems to be lost. But again, if we're going to be equitable here, Rauner likes Democrats. He likes hanging out with Democrats more than he does Republicans. Well, what is it, 10 months in?
Yeah.
How about now? How's it feel? And what kind of deal is going to be struck? Because I'll tell you, if Rauner, one of his campaign promises was to get the state income tax back to 3%, back to pre-Quinn levels, and if he does a dirty deal with Madigan and the Chicago Dem overlords and does something like re-raise the state income tax or impose a tax, go along with imposing a tax on retirement income, then Rahm may be running in 2019.
Oh, no.
I don't know where Rauner will be in 2018.
312-642. 5600 is our number.
John in Westmont, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. Rahm's a liar, and he's a wimp also. The guy ran on a pledge to cut jobs as well as, increase revenues. He passed a front-loaded tax increase. $400 million of it's coming the first year. So it's really all in 1 year. He's going to have to raise taxes for the Chicago public school teachers, and then he cries that Rauner is breaking Chicago when he's the one who can't even eliminate 311, 72 jobs that you could go on the internet for. Rahm's a big little baby.
That's right. Thanks for the call, John. That's exactly right. But how about those Rahm Republicans?
Okay, stop looking at me, please.
How about them?
Well, I trusted him more than Chuy Garcia.
Yes.
But maybe I made the wrong decision, okay, Dan?
Right. Here's the thing with Republicans, because that's the argument, right? Well,
Chuy was my choice.
Chuy would have been even worse and this and that. Here's my question. And I asked it during the campaign, but I'll ask it again, particularly in the context of the acrimony between Rauner and Tiny Dancer. When it comes to your opponents, Do you want an opponent with more capacity or less? Do you want an opponent with more wherewithal or less? Do you think that Chuy Garcia would have the same infrastructure, particularly financial infrastructure, that Rahm has, so that he can dig in the way that he is against Rauner's reforms? No, I don't think so. Oh, by the way, so those same Rauner Republicans who were Rahm Republicans, who are probably Mark Kirk Republicans, you'll note that Tammy Duckworth, the senator-elect who will displace Mark Kirk, that's a Rahm creation. That's going to be someone backed by Rahm. So when you cry for Rauner being blocked from advancing important structural reforms to state government, when you cry for him getting pilloried by Rahm, his good buddy, for not bailing out Chicago, all proper positions for Rauner, by the way, and when you cry when Mark Kirk is relegated to a former U.S. senator, just remember what you did in the mayoral election. Ron on the South Side.
Yeah, good morning, Dan and Amy. You know what? There are reports that if Hillary Clinton wins, that she may have a position for Rahm. So as much as I despise Hillary Clinton, I'm almost up to the point that I hope she wins so she can take that little weasel piece of crap with her. Have a good week.
Thanks, Ron.
What would he be? I mean, what cabinet position would Rahm Emanuel be fit for?
He'd be the head of the dirty. He'd be the head of the dirty trick squad in the White House. Perfect. Mike on the North Side.
All right, 3 quick things I want to tell you. If Rahm needs money, go to the TIFs. If Rahm needs money, take money away from the Irish Mafia contractors. There's nothing in the city charter that says they get the first $400 million. And for all those Rahm Republicans like Amy that voted for him, your kid's not going to get into Peyton College prep. Your property taxes are going to double in the next 4 years. You're not going to be able to sell your home. So I want you to teach your kids a couple of phrases that'll be helpful when they get stuck going to Lakeview or Clemente High School. Como está usted muy bien?
Thanks for the call, Mike.
See Sean Hannity and Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland at Freedom Summit Chicago on November 14th. Tickets on sale at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Miguel, escúchame, mi niño comprende español. They already speak Spanish, but thank you. It's a good tool to have. Hey, today, the weather is going to be cooperating. No wind. You'll notice that as soon as you step out the door. It's going to be warmer. We're going to have clouds and sun, a high of 55 degrees. Then tomorrow, Saturday, for trick-or-treating, breezy, with rain at times, a high of 52. And, of course, Sunday's perfect for the Bears-Vikings game. It's going to be 64 degrees with plenty of sunshine. And don't forget to fall back this weekend. Saturday, 2 a.m. will really be 1 a.m. Let's see where the cars are. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Amy, you can make up some of that time you'll lose in traffic if you're on eastbound 8094 this morning. It's a mess from Kennedy Avenue to Chase. That's before Grant. An overnight crash has 4 left lanes still blocked. Only the right lane and shoulder are open. It's a heavy delay. Westbound, it's fine. And the Indiana Toll Road has clear sailing. Inbound Eden, stop and go Dempster to Toohey. There's a crash there. Just reported 24 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 19. The Kennedy, 23 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 21. The Eisenhower is 35 minutes. Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 32. Stevenson, 38 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan is 20 minutes. 95 to downtown. And Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Traffic Center.
As usual, Amy, you're on the wrong side of everything.
You've heard me talking about the new website, upstream-ideas.com. If you haven't checked it out yet, then you're missing thoughtful expository content you won't find anywhere else from those who have operated in the political and policy arenas. Each week, you can watch the latest episode of Against the Current, our long-form interview series with policymakers and opinion leaders offering in-depth insights on the big issues of the day. Coming up is Steve Moore, and you can check out what's already posted, an interview with Kristen McQuarrie from the Tribune. You can also watch Illinois by the Numbers, our video series that breaks down Illinois one number at a time to explain what the policy challenges are, why we have them, and what we can do about them. And you can check out highlights from each Sunday's Illinois Rising, which tackles state and local politics and policy with deep thinkers from the Illinois Policy Institute and Illinois Opportunity Project. At Upstream Ideas, questions are asked that don't get asked anywhere else. Points of view are heard that are not heard anywhere else. So learn how to change the rules of the game so they cannot be gamed by the connected against the unconnected. Learn how to unfix systems and institutions that are wired against those who play by the rules. No sacred cows. No punches pulled. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
At TIAA-CREF, our record sounds like a broken record. We got impressive results in 2013. And 2014, same thing. We're like, hey, weren't we just here? Then 2015, boom, more impressive results. That's the kind of record you'd expect from a company that's created to serve and built to perform. Intelligent investing, powerful results. Visit TIAA.org. TIAA-CREF Individual and Institutional Services, LLC. Investing involves risk.
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And Contour Next gives you a second chance, allowing you to reapply to the same strip when the first sample is not enough, saving you time and money. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Find Contour Next at your local Leader Pharmacy.
Imagine what you would do if your business had a surplus of utility savings. More than 30% of your building's annual energy use comes from your heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. Air Comfort, Chicagoland's leading mechanical service provider, understands that you have better things to do with your money. There are new energy incentives offered by Chicagoland's largest utility provider that could help your business save hundreds, even thousands of dollars every month in utility costs. As a preferred partner, Air Comfort works closely with your business. They will identify the opportunities to reduce energy usage, select, purchase, and install equipment, and even help you complete and submit your incentive paperwork. Start saving on your utilities by calling now for your free consultation at 708-345-1900. That's 708-345-1900 or online at aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, a tradition of excellence since 1935.
AM 560, The Answer.
So you didn't know that it's daylight savings this weekend?
No, I got to fall back, right?
Yeah, so you get an extra hour of time at the bars. So
Sweet.
they can't close the bars at 2 because it's really 1.
I'm getting all my bowling in before that Cook County tax on bowling and golf is imposed. So I'm just 24 hours of bowling on Saturday and Sunday before they impose that tax.
Do you have a bowling ball and a bag and the shoes and all that?
I'm just waiting for the satin jacket.
Yeah.
Make America Great is what it says.
Oh, I did order the hat, by the way. Did I tell you that?
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for it to come. I don't know what's taking so long. I do have the receipt, though. I'll show you as proof that I did order the hat.
Well, we'll look forward to you sporting it next week. Jordan in Forest Park.
Hey, Dan and Amy, I think that the Chicago solution is for Rauner and the state Democrats to get together and pass a statute to allow cities to declare bankruptcy.
Yeah.
I mean, this would be a good fit for the state. Would help the city and renegotiate all these contracts. I think this is ultimately where we're going to go, anyways.
Thanks for the call, Jordan. It may ultimately be where we're going to go, but it's not going to be without a lot of kicking and screaming because nobody wants to be the mayor of a city when it formally declares bankruptcy. So that's the problem. But it's you're onto something. I'll tell you that.
Do you think this rift between Rauner and Rahm, though, is staged political theater, perhaps? Because that's my gut instinct.
No,
this is all an act.
No, I think it's
they're secretly texting each other and making plans for their next trip together.
No, I don't think that. I think they're both playing to their constituencies, real and perceived, real and desired. I think that's what's happening to some extent.
I'm going trick or treating at Rahm's house.
Well,
what we're talking about, Rahm, I'm like, who's going to hand out the big candy bars? None of that little mini stuff. I want a big solid chunk of chocolate.
Enough
so
short
I'm going to Rahm's house.
Mm-hmm. He'll probably be wearing that wedding dress that he kept there. Ted Cruz, who had a big debate night as well, with a lot of talk about Rubio. Cruz had a big debate night, including financially. He raised a ton of dough because of his performance.
Yeah, he and Rubio. Good for them.
Cruz was on with our friend Brett Baer on a special report yesterday. Good interview. And the question, because Britt Human tweeted on it, Cruz talks about fighting, but what has he won? He's won actually nothing. Well, Cruz was, that question was put to Cruz by Brett Baer. Pretty good answer here, which is kind of Cruz's forte. Pretty good answers. Listen to this.
You definitely have led fights against Obamacare, against immigration, against the EPA. Yeah. But Obamacare is still around. Immigration is still exactly the same.
No. But let's be very clear on immigration. I led the fight against Obama's amnesty, against the Gang of Eight bill, which was championed by Barack Obama, by Chuck Schumer, and Marco Rubio. And I led the fight standing side by side with Jeff Sessions, and we defeated it in Congress. Amnesty did not pass. So you want to talk about fights?
So a block is a legislative win.
Blocking something that is bad, that is harmful, is good. I'll give you another example.
Yeah, blocking something that is bad is good. I don't know why. I mean, I don't think it was lost on Bret Baier. I think he was clarifying it. But that's an important point. So Ted Cruz, the whole, he's just an iconoclast that speechifies and nothing is accomplished. There's no victories. There are victories. Stopping something is as much a victory as moving something sometimes. And Cruz gave one good example there, but there are more.
I'll give you another example. Over 2 years ago, following the tragic shooting in Newtown, Connecticut, the Democrats came out with a massive raft of new gun control proposals. I led the opposition against it. I remember Chuck Schumer being on Sunday shows saying they were in the sweet spot. Nothing could stop this. We defeated every one of those proposals on the floor of the Senate, defending the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. I'll give you another example of standing and leading a fight and winning. If you'll recall, when Israel was facing rocket fire from Hamas, and the Obama administration canceled all flights to Israel. And I publicly called them out and said, did the Obama administration just launch an economic boycott on Israel? They haven't done this for Pakistan, for Yemen, even much of Ukraine, and this was just months after a passenger airliner had been shot down with a Russian Buk missile. Why did they put discriminatory efforts on Israel? Within hours, the State Department's being asked, is this an economic boycott on Israel? The heat and light and pressure became so great that they lifted the flight ban.
So those are real victories for Ted Cruz, the victories that Ted Cruz led. And Ted Cruz has shown a willingness to lead and do so effectively, not just for press release purposes. And the key word that Cruz said right at the end of that exchange with Bret Baier is pressure. This is what, unfortunately, a lot of Republicans don't want to acknowledge, and not enough conservative activists understand. The way you move policy or stop bad policy, constant pressure. You have got to keep politicians in the vice. The left does it. Planned Parenthood does it. Why do you think they spend all that money on contributions for candidates? Because they just because somebody tells them they're pro-choice, they think they're going to be in Planned Parenthood's pocket. No, you got to keep the pressure on, the incentives, both the carrots and the sticks. And Cruz understands that. And because of Cruz's intellectual leadership, he creates a safe place for other conservatives who may not be as, willing to step out as Cruz. He creates a safe place for them to go. And frankly, that is leadership, and that's how you move a policy agenda, and that's why you should be the next president.
Young voter like yourself, the tour can be very difficult, very expensive.
Tanqueray and Tab.
Keep them coming, sweets. I got a long drive.
Don't miss Freedom Summit Chicago 2015 on November 14th with Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland. Get your tickets at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Honey, it's official. I'm running for office. Bob Bunn is going to run.
But the election is around the corner. You haven't even begun.
Hey, be nice, hon. I went to electiongraphics.us. They designed this sharp logo and are printing everything we need to help win votes. Walk cards, door hangers, yard signs, flyers, banners, even these awesome buttons.
Ooh, how fun.
Electiongraphics.us. I even had them take my campaign photo. Here it is. What do you think?
Bob Bunn, your face beams like the sun.
Electiongraphics.us works with you to develop the visual message of your campaign, whether it be local, state, or national in scope. Electiongraphics.us works with your existing graphics or can help design eye-catching brand and visuals that will deliver your message. Electiongraphics.us will ensure that your brand and message are clean, consistent, and clear.
Bob Bunn, you've won!
Without electiongraphics.us, I couldn't even have begun.
Electiongraphics.us, 847-224-8757. That's 847-224-8757.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We're talking to that owner of the coffee shop in Pilsen that was told to get out of Pilsen. We'll see if he's staying or going at 6:36.
And if there's any more threats. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. On President Obama's desk this morning, a compromise budget and a debt deal to sign. The bill funds the government for the next couple of years and extends the federal debt limit until March of 2017. After that compromise budget was sent to the president's desk around 3 a.m. this morning. New Speaker of the House Paul Ryan says the House must do a better job.
A lot is on our shoulders. So if you ever pray, let's pray for each other. Republicans for Democrats, and Democrats for Republicans.
Majority Republicans elect Ryan with 236 votes, the youngest speaker in more than 140 years. Thousands of drug offenders could get out of prison today. The Justice Department set to begin releasing over 6,000 federal drug offenders under the new U.S. Sentencing Commission guidelines. Authorities are investigating a jet engine fire at a Florida airport that sent passengers fleeing from the plane. Yesterday, a Dynamic Airways flight set to take off from Fort Lauderdale to Venezuela. Another drone sighted near a New York City airport. The crew on board a British Airways jet spotted it yesterday afternoon, approaching JFK.
We just had a drone report 300 feet above Zalfa, which is the final approach course for 22 left, but just off the left side, 2 miles, 300 feet drone reported.
The FAA says the drone was flying at about 1,800 to 2,200 feet above ground. The limit is 500 feet. The Supreme Court takes another look at the Affordable Care Act's contraceptive mandate. The justices scheduled to review petitions from nonprofits who want to be excluded from that part of the Obamacare law. The suburban Chicago man pleads guilty to allegations he tried to join ISIS militants. Prosecutors are recommending a 5-year prison term for Mohammed Khan. A suburban gymnastics coach accused of sexually abusing 2 children with disabilities during a trip to Georgia for a competition has waived extradition from Illinois. 48-year-old Patricia Herman of Schaumburg is charged with 3 counts of sexual battery against the minor in suburban Atlanta. And a lot of Mets fans this morning are annoyed, and they're taking to social media that a ticket to tonight's World Series game at Citi Field is going for $1,600 or more. Queens State Senator Jose Peralta says that's unacceptable because unlike the Yankees, who he says are the rich man's team, the Mets are the working family's team. And working families can't sell out that kind of cash. The usual cost for a Mets ticket, about $25. Chicago sports, Winnipeg over the Blackhawks, 3-1. They're on their way to Minnesota tonight. Patriots looking awfully good and rolling into November unbeaten. Tom Brady 4 touchdowns. New England beat Miami last night, 36-7. The news, a service of the Foundation for a Better Life. Mr. Rogers passed along friendship, hoping we would too. Friendship, pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com. 6:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager believes the media has stopped covering up bias.
They used to get offended when they were said to be pro-left, but now they're not offended anymore because it's redundant. The irony is it's even acknowledged here. Before the Republican debate, Jake Tapper had said, quote, "I'm trying to craft questions that in most cases pit candidates against the other."
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
I'm Willie Wilson, candidate for President of the United States. As President, education will be at the top of my priorities.
Paid for by Willie Wilson 2016.
Founded in 1922, Unico National is the largest Italian-American service and charitable organization in America with over 120 local chapters in 22 states. Its volunteer members support scholarships, cancer research, mental health, Cooley's anemia, and many local causes while celebrating their Italian heritage. Chicagoland Unico chapters invite you to this special free event. Rediscover your Italian heritage. Wednesday, November 4th at Casa Italia in Stone Park. Join your neighbors of Italian heritage for an evening of enjoyment with Italian food tastings, Italian lessons, cultural info, and more. Plus the opportunity to join Unico. This is a free event, but reservations are required. Call 1-800-947-0137 to reserve your spot. 800-947-0137 or visit unico.org. That's UNICO.org. Unico National. Rediscover your Italian heritage. 800-947-0137 or unico.org. That's UNICO.org.
I love the product, and I highly recommend it to anybody.
Boy, oh boy, I feel terrific. Nothing compares with this. It's a great product. I love it. I haven't been sick since I've used it. A little bit more than a year or just about a year now. Never the case before.
I have noticed a remarkable difference.
I don't want to stop using it. It has really kicked into my system. I just believe in it. That's all I can say.
I feel more sustained. It's good. I'm not fatiguing as much.
Really making a difference in my life.
The quality of my sleep has improved exponentially.
They're just awesome.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
Hi, folks. Joe Walsh here. I recently visited Precision Payroll of America in Oak Brook Terrace, Illinois. I'll tell you, I've been hearing Tom's ads for years, and to meet his team and spend a little time with them, I realized why their clients and employees stay together so long. I also didn't realize what great services they offer. Payroll processing, tax filing, time and attendance, and human resource consulting. Boy, we could all use help there with all these new and yet to be introduced regulations from healthcare to full-time equivalency. Precision Payroll of America has the right services and the right approach to help companies navigate these crazy times. For a service provider you can relate to and will look out for your best interests, call Tom at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507. Also, visit precisionpayroll.com, but then pick up the phone and call Tom. He is sure to deliver great value and even better service.
6:38 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center, and here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Eastbound 8094 is jammed. Klein Avenue to Chase. An earlier major overnight crash has cleared now. All lanes have reopened. Eden's inbound stop-and-go golf before 2-8 crash in the left lane. 27 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 20. The Kennedy, 28 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound the same. The Eisenhower, looking at 36 minutes, Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 32. Stevenson, 46 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan is 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. Traffic is a service of UPSjobs.com. Seeking part-time package handlers throughout Chicagoland, especially Northbrook, Palatine, Franklin Park, and Bedford Park. Package handlers can graduate debt-free with up to $25,000 in education assistance. Apply now at upsjobs.com/radio. Get there with UPS. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. Warmer today, a little cloud and sunshine mix. Coming up, 55 for a high temp. And cooling off for high school football tonight, playoff style. And a little rain towards dawn tomorrow, a low of 44. And then a breezy day with rain at times for the rest of the high school football slate. High 52. 39 at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Aging Info Radio. Heard Sunday mornings at 9, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Let freedom ring this afternoon at 2 with Sean Hannity, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
So, Dan, Halloween is tomorrow. What are you going to dress up as?
Let's see. According to 630, you're going to go as Ronner, which makes sense. You're tall.
Mm-hmm. And Swedish. Thank you.
And then the Peyton and Eli, your sons, they could be Chewie and Rom. they're both of them are too tall to be Rom. It won't be believable.
One is the same height as Rahm Emanuel.
He's 4 feet tall.
Oh, well, one's 5'4", and the other one's 4'11".
They tower over Rom.
No, Rom is not that short, please.
And I don't know. I think maybe one like a Lisa Madigan.
Cross dress.
Well,
you have to be careful.
Sort of.
What you dress up as for Halloween, and we bring this up because this morning the president of University of Louisville, his name is James Ramsey, is in a lot of hot water. On Wednesday, he decided to have his staff over, at the university mansion there on the campus.
Let me guess. They all dressed up as prostitutes and went over to the basketball team, right?
No, they did not. He decided because for some reason his wife, ready for this, loves Mexican food. So when people showed up, this is his staff. They handed out sombreros, fake mustaches, veils to more than a dozen people. And they took a group photo, like team photo on the steps of the president's house, dressed up as Mexicans. So
that was like that MSNBC debate where they brought in the Latino, and he had a sombrero on. He came in on a donkey to ask the one question about immigration.
Yeah,
so that's kind of. I mean, they're imitating the moderators on MSNBC.
Well, here's the problem, though. It's a culture, not a costume. But also, University of Louisville has 16,000 undergrad students. 628 of them are Latinos.
How many can go as Cardinals? You can only have so many people dressed up as Louisville Cardinals. You can only have so many people dressed up as Cardinals. You got to mix it up.
So this morning, some people are demanding his resignation.
Oh, please.
Oh, no. Yes.
Of course they
want
are.
him censured in some way or to make a public apology. 312-642-5600.
You know what's going to happen?
What?
Donald Trump's going to have him deported.
Here's Mary Maldonado, who's in charge of, what is her title? I couldn't. She's the executive director of
Adelante Hispanic Achievers.
See, this is why we work so well together. Here's Mary.
My first reaction was it was very unfortunate. There are so many stereotypes out, and this just perpetuates that. So it was not a good photo.
And other Latino students said that seeing the school president in this picture is very upsetting because they are not being respected. It is very disrespectful to dress up in a sombrero, an exaggerated mustache, and a maracas.
It's not that exaggerated. It's like
some of them. You saw the picture.
It's no bigger than Chuy Garcia's mustache.
I mean, it was huge. I mean, why, but how could they think that that's acceptable? I mean, what year is this? It is 2015. I think he should resign.
It's 2015. Well, I don't even know what that means. We're so advanced in 2015. Is that what you mean? We're more enlightened in 2015? I think a strong case could be made to the converse, particularly on college campuses.
Well, there's a word for this, Dan. And it's called racism.
Oh, come on.
312-642-5600. Can you imagine if he gathered his staff on university property and dressed in blackface? Oh, my. Well, let's go as the star Louisville basketball player. I love basketball so much. Everybody, put on your blackface.
What if they dressed as mobsters, like from The Sopranos? Is that insulting to
the
Italians?
Are you kidding me? You'd have Dominic Frisco would be calling in the station demanding that president resign.
Well, he's wrong too. I mean,
no,
you know what? Here,
it's a culture, not a costume. Seriously, I saw this. I thought,
get over yourself.
Me.
Get over yourself. If somebody dresses as
the Swedish bikini team, that's all right.
Male.
That's not all right.
Right. I mean, it's just the whole thing of anything that lampoons me or my culture has to result in resignations and imprisonments and beatings in the public square. Isn't it just so much over the top at this point? You have to take yourself so seriously. No. If I see depictions of, the prototypical drunk Irish, the stereotypical drunk Irish, I get hysterical about it.
Well, this is perpetuating a stereotype. Here's Mara. Let the lady, Mrs. Maldonado, speak.
The U of L is a fine school, and we have so many students who get an excellent education there, and we want our school in our city to attract the best, and we have attracted the best, and I hope that photo would not deter anyone from attending the...
Yeah, and drunken toga parties insults all students of Greek heritage, and on and on and on.
Well, they say it's a minority that's frequently faced with prejudice, and they said that this is perpetuating a stereotype.
If they dress up like conservatives, that would be a minority that's frequently faced with prejudice on a college campus.
Well, he has no word yet from Dr. Ramsey himself. The university released a statement apologizing for his behavior, but he hasn't said anything. But can you imagine being one of his staff members and going to his house and they hand you a sombrero and a mustache and say, hey, put this on because we like Mexican food and this is funny. It's early Halloween gift, and stand on the steps and take a picture. One guy in the picture was literally hiding behind a sombrero from one of his coworkers. To me, it looked like he was trying to hide.
Oh, gosh, the oppression of it all.
Well, it's
the sacrilege of it all.
Ridiculous.
what's ridiculous is that this kind of reaction, because something isn't, even if something is in poor taste, it needs to result in these draconian responses so that everybody can pretend that they occupy some moral high ground they don't really occupy. It's just so silly. Grow up. Golly.
Yeah, grow up, President Ramsey, and don't force your staff to wear Mexican costumes.
There's
for
no
a
evidence.
Halloween
There's no
party.
evidence anybody was forced. There's nobody who said they were forced to do this under threat of, termination or anything. A silly little thing, and it turns into this federal case. That's what's silly. Jay in Lowell, Indiana.
Hey, how you doing, guys? You know what? All I gotta say is it's grow up. You know what? The only time anybody's offended if they can sit there and benefit financially or benefit in some way. I'm sure he's white. Now they're going to say, well, now we need a Latino president to heal the wounds.
Thanks for the call, Jay. You know what? We should ban all Zucker Brothers movies. All these, all these fun movies that, make fun of, kind of take stereotypes to ridiculous extremes across the board. Because nobody can be made fun of in America anymore. Otherwise, you've been victimized and cut to your core.
One student's leaving the university. One Hispanic student out of the 628 who go there are leaving quickly. His
he
chief
should be. If he can't handle that, then he's got bigger problems than.
Than just that. Ramsey's chief of staff, Kathleen Smith, released a statement. I write to express a sincere apology for the choice of Halloween costumes at our staff luncheon. We made a mistake and are very sorry.
Well, of course they are, because they're kowtowing to political correctness. Of course they are. This is a college. Of course they are.
I can't send Eli and Peyton to University of Louisville now.
Oh, gosh.
Hi, Amy and Dan. Love your
Hey,
show.
Scott.
Hi, Scott.
Amy, the way that you laid it out is probably not at all how it happened. And our country is just way too PC. It was a Mexican-themed party, and the president provided the props to make it a Mexican-themed party. It was as simple as that.
Did you see the picture, Scott?
Well, pardon?
Did you see the picture yet?
No, and I don't
go
need
online
to.
and see it. Oh, no.
Mexicans don't wear sombreros. Some Mexicans don't. I mean, if they dress up like a mariachi band in the clothes that a mariachi band wears, would that have been insulting too? Because they're not Mexican. I mean, that's the clothes that mariachi bands wear. It's just that this is my point. It's just so over the top, really. Thanks.
It is over the top, and if you've ever been to Mexico, they do wear sombreros in Mexico, especially the old school Mexicans.
Thanks for the call, Scott.
I want to get a sunburn, but it's a culture, not a costume. This is the only warning we have on the eve of Halloween, not to dress up as a race or a culture.
I'm suggesting you do just the opposite. Okay. Dawn in Oak Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. I'm multilingual and I appreciate different languages, but as a patriot, I would like to encourage the broadcasters to, instead of using the terms Latino and Latina, why cannot we say Latin American and anglicize the terms so that we can help our incoming folks to accommodate to our culture?
Okay. Thanks for the call, Dawn.
Dawn,
excuse me, assimilation. Yes, assimilation is the order of the day. Peggy on the north side.
Hi. If everyone's right, I guess no one's right. I mean, you heard about that thing on the 29th where that Christian was persecuted in Bremerton? He was an assistant coach, and after the game, a high school game, he would go out of the 50-yard line and pray. It was privacy.
Right.
And they suspended him. And now the Christians are organizing underground because this is 2 days before Halloween.
Okay.
And, usually All Saints is the day after and every kid in the world is sick, But if it's before, we can actually preempt Halloween. And I thought, this is funny. The one thing you don't do is you don't barter a Christian. That's food for them. They will actually,
Thanks for the call, Peggy.
This has nothing to do with race.
Don't miss Freedom Summit Chicago 2015 on November 14th with Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland. Get your tickets at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Here's your forecast for Halloween. Dress appropriately, and you might want to dress warmly. Change your costume. Today's going to be good. No wind, which is a blessing. Clouds and some sunshine, a high of 55. Tomorrow, breezy, rain at times, not good, a high of 52 degrees. And on Sunday for your Bears-Packers game, it's going to be pleasant, warmer, plenty of sunshine, a high of 64. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. 8094 eastbound. We're still seeing significant delays from Klein Avenue to Chase. That's before Grant. There was an earlier crash, but all lanes are open again. Eden's inbound, 27 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose up on 26th. Kennedy, 31 minutes. O'Hare to downtown up on 28. The Eisenhower, running 36 minutes. Thorndale to downtown up on 32. The Stevenson, 46 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive up on 38. Ryan, 27 minutes. 95th to downtown. Outbound at 71st. The exit's blocked with a crash. I-57, 23 minutes. I-80 to the merge. Bishop Ford, 25. Eastbound Adams Tollway just a little heavy from the Des Plaines Oasis to Lee. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Now it's time for the Lou Dobbs Financial Report, brought to you by the Mutual Fund Store.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Earnings and economic reports in focus on Wall Street. Investors look to improve in what's already been a great month for stocks. Those stories next.
Health Markets Insurance Agency is the DBA of Inspire Insurance Solutions Incorporated, licensed in all states. Product availability varies. Agents may be compensated on enrollment. Attention Americans eligible for Medicare. Medicare plans are changing. New plans are now available that could increase your benefits and lower how much you pay. At Health Markets, our free service can help you find the Medicare plan that's right for you without the guesswork. Even if you're currently enrolled in a Medicare plan, you may be paying more than you need to and missing out on important benefits. This year's Medicare plan changes could mean more coverage and lower costs. But enrollment is not automatic. Call Health Markets today and we'll search thousands of Medicare plans from leading insurance companies. Plans that may cost less and cover more, with lower copayments, more choices like dental and vision care, and the freedom to see the doctors you choose. Best of all, our service is free. Don't let the Medicare deadline pass. Call Health Markets and let us find the right Medicare plan for you without cost or obligation. Call 800-971-0385. 800-971-0385. 800-971-0385.
Wall Street investors hope to close out the week and this month on a strong note. A positive close today would lock in a fifth straight weekly gain for each of the three major stock indexes, all of which are up more than 8% for the month of October. Investors today combing through earnings from Chevron, CVS, Expedia, ExxonMobil, LinkedIn, Phillips 66, and Starbucks. LinkedIn up double digits in extended trading, topping Wall Street targets. Starbucks weaker than expected earnings guidance, however, pressuring its stock and extended trading, and investors reacting to a number of economic reports, including readings on personal income and spending, the Employment Cost Index, consumer confidence, and Midwest manufacturing. Please join us for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
So, I'm retiring today.
Freedom!
I hate goodbyes, so I've hired singers to follow me around and bid my coworkers farewell.
It's John's last day.
Okay, let's get started. Here's Tom.
Your pranks were amazing, despite what HR says.
Next, Susan.
Your homemade cookies blew his mind and diet.
Finally, Dave.
You never judged him for his popcorn burning.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss you guys.
Ready to give your swan song at work? The Mutual Fund Store can help. We'll sit down with you one-on-one to talk about your goals. Then we'll put a plan in place to help get you on track. Finally, we'll keep a close eye on your account to make sure you stay on track. Discover how within reach your retirement could be for you with a free portfolio review and consultation.
Hi, I'm Matt Personette with the Mutual Fund Store in Chicagoland. Call me at 888-498-3636 or visit mutualfundstore.com and let's talk about your financial goals today.
Fall is here, and now that the kids are back at school, it's the perfect time to schedule your appointment with Executive Green Carpet Cleaning. You've heard me rave about Executive Green and their special cleaning process, which includes a safe, non-toxic solution that won't leave any sticky, chalky residue that the other companies use. This company, Executive Green, they use their own purified water, not the water from your faucet. But here's another reason to call Executive Green. It's their no-risk guarantee. That's right. Executive Green promises that you won't need to pay if you're not 100% satisfied. Even after 2 months of high traffic with my boys and my precious cats, my carpet still looks newly cleaned. So if you want your carpet to look new again like mine, let Executive Green make you and your family 100% satisfied. Call 708-599-5151. That's 708-599-5151. Or schedule online at executivegreencarpetcleaning.com. That number again, 708-599-5151. Locally owned and operated since 1989.
You didn't build that. You don't pay your fair share. Who do you think you are? Ayn Rand knew exactly who you are. Rational, productive, independent. You work hard and use your own judgment. You choose your career path, your lifestyle, your values. You're living the American dream. And now you see that there are people who want to take away what you've created and who will call their lust to loot a virtue. People who think the needs of others is a claim on your money, your work, your life. Well, how can you fight back? That's what they do at the Ayn Rand Institute. They look closely at public policy beyond sound bites and election cycles, at the fundamental moral ideas that frame crucial debates. They focus on reframing the issues in line with reason, egoism, and individual rights to life, liberty, property, and the pursuit of happiness. Your life, liberty, property, and the pursuit of your happiness. Stand up with them to fight against the sacrifice of your values by making a contribution today at AynRand.org/support. They'll use your money to defend your values.
America has a serious narcotics problem. 90% of the world's narcotics are taken by Americans. They have a place, but when you're dealing with chronic pain, pain that doesn't go away or which frequently returns, there is a better way. You're masking the pain. We help you find and deal with the source of the chronic pain to get real relief. This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. We're serious players in pain. Our team are national leaders and we're educators in the treatment of pain. We will work with you to diminish or eliminate your pain and help you get your life back. Contact us, we will help you. You don't have to live with chronic pain. We treat all pain. We don't mask it with painkillers and narcotics that are not good for you and which can be addictive. I have a simple message for you. If you or someone you love or someone you know has chronic pain, contact us. Treating chronic pain issues is what we do. We can make it better. Get an appointment and let's talk. MyPainChicago.com, MyPainChicago.com. All the info is available at MyPainChicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
AM 560, The Answer.
What could you do with an extra $500, $1,000, or even $1,500 per month? How would that change things for you? Would you buy a new car, pay off bills, or just feel a bit more secure about your retirement? What if I told you there may be a way to make your dreams a reality? I'm talking about trading and investing in the market. Now, before you say, oh no, that's not for me, just hear me out. I want to invite you to a free trading and investing class so you can check this out. And right now, if you call in and mention offer Radio 50, Online Trading Academy will comp the class and even send you home with a free $247 home study program. Call right now and reserve your seat while space is still available. Call 888-601-TRADE. Call 888-601-TRADE. Mention offer Radio 50. Call 888-601-TRADE or online at otaclass.com. That's 888-601-8723 or otaclass.com.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
More hide the important documents by the federal government, this time as it relates to climate change at 7:07.
And Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark will be here to explain why he thinks members of Black Lives Matter are going to end up becoming ISIS members. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, the CTA's yellow line is up and running today, and the Blackhawks' winning streak ends. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. They voted while most of America slept.
The motion to concur is agreed to.
The final tally at 3 a.m., 64 yeas, 35 nays, passing a 2-year budget at the Senate. Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
The spending bill averts a partial government shutdown in December. Senator and Republican presidential candidate Rand Paul opposed the deal, which also raises the debt ceiling.
That means we're going to let President Obama borrow an unlimited amount of money in his last year in office, and I think it's a serious mistake.
The legislation boosts spending on the Pentagon and domestic agencies. The White House has praised the agreement, saying it provides substantial relief from harmful spending cuts while protecting people who rely on Social Security and Medicare. Dave?
Rachel, they got him. The man who shot a Tennessee cop and fired at one in Kentucky, tracked down after a week-long search and killed in a shootout early this morning after people had reported seeing Floyd Ray Cook.
Without those tips, we'd still be combing the entire state of Kentucky.
That's State Trooper Billy Gregory. Syrian troops go on the offensive again. The opposition claims a missile barrage near Damascus killed 40 people in a civil war the U.S. and 18 countries keep trying to stop, and talks today in Vienna. Fox News Radio's Simon Owen live in our European bureau.
Dave, it's the latest in a long line of meetings, but this time Iran is also at the table, joining the US, Saudi Arabia, Russia, and others,
against
making this the
against
broadest gathering of
the
nations
EPA.
yet to discuss Syria's
I
future.
would ask, for
Secretary of
example,
State John Kerry giving a cautious
if you want
prediction
to
talks
end
begin.
debate, you don't want to address the facts. How do you address the fact that in the last 18 years the satellite data show no demonstrable warming whatsoever?
Simon, a passenger injured fleeing a
Sir, I would rely upon the Union of Concerned Scientists, and I would rely upon the evidence, and again, from our own NOAA officials, the data are there.
Is it correct that the satellite data over the last 18 years demonstrate no significant warming?
Fox News Radio.
No.
Fair and balanced.
How is it incorrect?
This morning, partly cloudy skies, 36 degrees.
Based upon our experts, it's been refuted long ago, and there's no longer, it's not up for scientific
A suburban
debate.
Chicago man pleading guilty to allegations.
I'm curious if I want to understand this. I do find it highly interesting that the president of the Sierra Club, when asked what the satellite data demonstrate about warming, apparently is relying on staff.
Yellow trains are finally moving again. It's AM 560's David Stewart.
The nice thing about the satellite data is these are objective numbers.
Correct.
And the numbers over the last 18 years, are you familiar with the phrase the pause?
Tracks collapsed. A water reclamation district construction project was the cause, but the effect was that the tracks were unusable until that embankment was built up again. After test runs earlier this week, the trains are now set to roll again between the CTA's Skokie shops.
The answer is yes, and essentially we rest on our position.
And to what you said, you are familiar with the pause, so to what does the phrase the pause refer?
The judge says he will rule November 6th in a custody battle involving an Illinois woman who's fighting a state agency's decision to take away her 3 children. Illinois child welfare workers took Amanda Ware's 3 kids last year.
I'm sorry, you said you were familiar with that term, so I asked to what does it refer?
Children drowned. Those children,
essentially, is the slowing of global warming during the 40s, sir.
Died when a car they were in rolled into a central Illinois lake. Ware, you may recall, was then known as Amanda Ham. Served 5 years in prison for child endangerment. Her then boyfriend was convicted of their murders and is serving a life sentence. Ware later remarried and had 3 more children, whom the state took custody of last year. The University of Illinois says school administrators are hoping soon to resolve a lawsuit brought by a professor who lost his job over a series of profane anti-Israel Twitter messages. According to the News-Gazette in Champaign, the chancellor, Barbara Wilson, told faculty the school is working to actively resolve the suit brought by Steven Salida. Chicago sports, Winnipeg beat the Blackhawks 3-1. NFL last night, New England rolled Miami. And on the ice later tonight, it's the Hawks at Minnesota, and the Pistons and Bulls will tangle in the NBA. The news, a service of Unbound. Ever wonder where your charitable donations are really going? At Unbound, you'll know who you're helping and what impact your support is having on their life. One way Unbound is different at unbound.org. Check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
One event. One day only. With all of these names together. Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, KT McFarland, Katie Pavlich, and Guy Benson. It's Freedom Summit Chicago 2015, November 14th in Itasca. Tickets begin at just $29 and are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com. Don't miss this exclusive event. Go to freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com.
I'm terrible with money. Apparently, a PhD in physics won't help me predict the trajectory of my own retirement. So I work with TIAA-CREF. You get quality, personalized advice no matter what your balance is. For me, they make investing as easy as Newtonian physics.
Advice for everyone. One more way TIAA-CREF is created to serve and built to perform. Visit TIAA.org. TIAA-CREF Individual Institutional Services, LLC. This testimonial is an actor portrayal. Advice is subject to institutional plan rules. Investing involves risk. Individual results will vary.
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And Contour Next gives you a second chance, allowing you to reapply to the same strip when the first sample is not enough, saving you time and money. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Find Contour Next at your local Meijer.
7:06 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Let's get the latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Carroll Stream got a crash at Gary and North Avenue on the inbound side of the Edens Expressway. The delays are starting around Dempster. Looking at a travel time of 29 minutes from Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 26. Inbound Kennedy, 38 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, 21 from Montrose, 14 on the Express, outbound 39 minutes to the airport. Inbound Eisenhower at St. Charles has crashed, 51 minutes Thorndale to downtown, 30 from Manheim, outbound 39 to Thorndale. Stevenson now 54 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 38. Ryan 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State delays, 95th to 75th. From the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Southbound there's a delay from the Toohey Toll Plaza to the Adams Tollway. Crash reported there. Eastbound 8094 is still very slow. Climb to Chase after an overnight crash. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, warmer with intervals of clouds and sunshine, high 55. Tonight, cloudy with a little rain toward dawn, low 44. Then tomorrow, breezy with rain at times, high of 52. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
36 at O'Hare, 43 along the lakefront, fog, and 32 in Aurora. Your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by American Embroidery and Screen Printing, now offering free artwork for new customers. Call 630-766-2825.
Good morning. Welcome to your Friday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
And it's a new era in Washington as Congressman Paul Ryan officially succeeds John Boehner as the new Speaker of the House, second in line to the presidency.
I leave with no regrets, no burdens. If anything, I leave the way I started. Just a regular guy, humbled by the chance to do a big job.
We are not settling scores. We are wiping the slate clean.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, we were talking about inoffensively offensive or offensively inoffensive Halloween costumes. And we'll get back to that because NIU posted something, too, about conscientious Halloween costumes for college kids. I mean, this is just unbelievable. But Amby Davis's bowling ball is on a roll. Dressing, according to Amy, dressing with sombrero and a mustache is offensive to Mexicans.
Yes, don't do it. It's a culture, not a costume.
She started a list that Amby Davis's bowling ball is rounding out. I think that is actually his costume, too. He's going as Amby Davis's bowling ball this year. Dressing as a living being is offensive to Planned Parenthood. Pretty good.
Dressing as a naughty schoolgirl is offensive to naughty schoolgirls.
Dressing as a Mexican is offensive to those opposing NAFTA.
Oh, my God.
Dressing as a Star Wars character is offensive to Friends of the Park.
Oh. That's a good one.
All right, we'll have more Halloween custom stuff. But
the do's and don'ts.
We've got to unmask EPA and climate change. It was an issue that came up in the debate. It was put to Chris Christie, and he addressed it. That was actually one of the fun moments in the debate where John Harwood took a right cross to the chin, where Chris Christie started to answer his position on climate change and what should be done about it. And then John Harwood interrupted, and Chris Christie said, you going to answer, or do you want me to answer?
Great.
Yeah, so Christie is not going to get pushed around, and I mean that literally. But here's some other particular or pertinent information on this. One, Wall Street Journal editorial today, EPA deserves a stay. This has gone underreported, but 26 states, that would be a majority of the states in the nation, and as well as some business interests, have sued the EPA, asking the D.C. Court of Appeals for an injunction to the Clean Power Plan that the EPA promulgated back in August, which orders states to reorganize their energy systems from power plants to electric outlets. And here's what the EPA does. Here's a little trick when you have this, when they promulgate rules, and if the courts don't enjoin the implementation of these rules, even if you ultimately have these rules promulgated administratively by the Environmental Protection Agency, even if you have them overturned as unconstitutional overreaches, by the time it winds its way through the courts, if there's not an injunction imposed, the damage is already done and it's hard to unwind it. So, for example, the Supreme Court overturned a mercury emissions regulation earlier this year, but it was too late because the EPA published the rule back in 2011. And this was with respect to coal, right? President Obama's war on coal, kind of important to Southern Illinois. When the EPA published the rule in 2011, the lowball prediction was that coal use would fall by less than 1%. As per usual, what's my handle for how far the government is usually off in their projections?
10%?
By a factor of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, by a factor of 10. And they held form here. They predicted coal use would fall by less than 1%. Instead, coal use plunged by 12% in 2002 alone and has continued to drop in the subsequent 3 years. So the damage was done by the time the Supreme Court got its hands on the regulation that was put forward and imposed by the EPA and said, well, wait, no, that's unconstitutional. So this is why you have 26 attorneys general suing the EPA to enjoin the Clean Power Plan, that Obama is pushing to continue to kind of try and reorder our economy through executive fiat and administrative rules, which is one's just a proxy for the other.
Well, is anyone surprised by this? 312-642-5600, because I'm not shocked.
Well, I mean, it's not about being shocked. It's about understanding what they're doing and responding in kind to prevent them from doing it and further decimating our economy. I mean, energy independence and, frankly, things like fracking have been what has buoyed this country, particularly during the recession and, the very anemic recovery. This is a source that could make a source of jobs and economic opportunity, economic vitality, national security that is being underappreciated and resources being misdirected by government policy under this president. For example, this story from Fox. Avanpa Solar Electric Generating System in the Mojave Desert. This business is a solar plant, think Solyndra.
Mm-hmm.
So this business, the solar electric generating system in the Mojave Desert, got $2.2 billion from the federal government, $1.6 billion from the Energy Department Loan Guarantee Program. This is the same thing that Solyndra and some other colossal failures with the same source of money that they received. So they got a $1.6 billion Energy Department loan guarantee and then a $539 million Treasury Department stimulus grant to help pay off the loan. So here, we're going to give you $1.6 billion, and then we're going to give you $500 million to pay off the $1.6 billion. Well, pretty good deal. Good business model. Here's the rub, though. This solar electric generating system in California, $2.2 billion.
Did they generate anything?
Well, they're generating something. They're producing carbon emissions at nearly twice the amount that compels power plants and companies to participate in the state's cap-and-trade program there in California because the plant relies on natural gas as supplementary fuel to keep the lights on, as it were. And this is not unusual. Solar and wind power plants typically require some form of supplemental fuel, to deal with the weather. Yeah, have to factor that in. So that's interesting. And then also on this front, last summer, scientists published a study that challenged the notion that global warming has been slowing down in recent years. This analysis was done by using data provided by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA. And Congressman Lamar Smith from Texas has been asking NOAA for the data and the internal communications that were related to the study in question that seeks to challenge the so-called pause. And can't get NOAA to turn over the temperature data that provided the foundation of the study in question. Now, in science, the whole idea is peer review. So you publish a study in a journal, for example, a peer-reviewed study. And then other scientists want to look at what you published and the basis for it so that we know we're not being subjected to fraud or miscalculations, misinterpretations of data. And NOAA, despite a subpoena operating much like the State Department, refusing to deliver the temperature data that was used for this study that the likes of the Al Gores and the other eco-freaks and climate alarmists are using to suggest that, we need a carbon tax and we need all kinds of other draconian measures to deal with the kind of imminent rising of the tides that is going to destroy the planet because of quote unquote, not global warming anymore. We don't call it that. We call it climate change because, of the data that doesn't support climate. It doesn't support the term global warming anymore. So this is all very interesting. And it leads me back to this place. We played this audio a few weeks ago when this hearing occurred, but it bears repeating, particularly in light of some of the stories I just referenced. This is Ted Cruz. I love Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz with...
I think he's your guy now, right?
Oh, he is. And here's a good example why. Ted Cruz at a Senate hearing with Sierra Club President Aaron Mayer talking about the basis, the science behind the policies that organizations like the Sierra Club desire. Listen to this.
I would ask, for example, if you want to end debate, you don't want to address the facts, how do you address the fact that in the last 18 years, the satellite data show no demonstrable warming whatsoever?
Sir, I would rely upon the Union of Concerned Scientists, and I would rely upon the evidence, and again, from our own NOAA officials. The data are there.
Is it correct that the satellite data over the last 18 years demonstrate no significant warming?
No.
How is it incorrect?
This is where he confers with staff.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I remember this.
Based upon our experts, it's been refuted long ago, and it's not up for scientific debate.
This is great. How is it incorrect? It's not up for debate. That's how it's incorrect. He referenced the NOAA data. That's what I'm talking about here. So turn over the data. Let's examine it. If the debate is over and the evidence is overwhelming, why not present the evidence? It's curious, isn't it? I mean, this exchange is just fascinating. It's funny because it's the classic case where Aaron Mayer, the Sierra Club president, he doesn't expect the follow-up question. No. This is why Cruz is so good, because he asked the proper follow-up question to make people prove up these pronouncements they otherwise are allowed to get away with. Listen to this. It goes on. I mean, this is fascinating, just the 2-minute exchange between these two.
I'm curious if I want to understand this. I do find it highly interesting that the president of the Sierra Club, when asked what the satellite data demonstrate about warming, apparently is relying on staff.
Better than he's relying on staff again.
The nice thing about the satellite data is these are objective numbers.
Correct.
And the numbers over the last 18 years, are you familiar with the phrase, the pause?
He has to ask staff if he's familiar with that phrase.
What's the pause? Do you know what the pause is? Who knows what the pause is? Get over here.
I mean, this is great. You see the look at Cruz's
face. The answer is yes, and essentially we rest on our position.
And to what you said, you are familiar with the pause. So to what does the phrase "the pause" refer?
Oh, I knew he was going to ask that. What? We can't just say yes. What does it mean?
Oh me no. What is the pause?
I'm sorry. You said you were familiar with that term, so I asked to what does it refer?
Essentially, it's the slowing of global warming during the 40s, sir.
That answer is incorrect, by the way. It is not the slowing of global warming during the 40s. It's the slowing of global warming of the last 18 years that Cruz is referring to. But the great thing about that you can't appreciate by just listening to the audio is that after that long, so what is the pause? Yeah. And then he confers with staff. He turns back to the microphone and to the panel and just stares at Ted Cruz. He's not saying anything.
Oh, my
God,
God,
Cruz
really?
has to, he expects Cruz to not re-ask the question or expect an answer to his question. So Cruz has to re-ask the same question.
Oh,
go on YouTube, and that's just 2 minutes of it. Go on YouTube and watch Cruz and Aaron Mayer of the Sierra Club. I mean, it is just high dudgeon. And the point is, the underlying point is not funny. It's that, we have legitimate questions about proving up the claims that are being made. And we'll take your calls 312-642-5600 on the Turnkey.pro answer line after this.
See Sean Hannity and Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland at Freedom Summit Chicago on November 14th. Tickets on sale at freedomsummitchicago.com.
It's a spooky forecast. Today's going to be nice. So warmer with some clouds and sunshine, little to no wind, which is nice. A high of 55 degrees. Saturday for trick-or-treating, it's going to be breezy with rain at times, on and off throughout the day. It should subside by late afternoon. A high of 52 degrees. And don't forget to turn your clocks back. Daylight savings time has arrived. Sunday will be pleasant and warmer. Plenty of sunshine, a high of 64 for the Bears-Vikings game. Let's get the travel times and see if there's good news out on the roadways. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. In some places good, in some places not so much. It's getting heavier now on the inbound Edens and Kennedy. The Kennedy running 43 minutes O'Hare to downtown. The delays start at Canfield, and the express lane save nothing. Outbound 39 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Edens 30 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 26. The Eisenhower 49 minutes Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 37. Stevenson is 54 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 35. The Ryan, a heavy 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State stop and go, 87th to the Hinsdale Oasis, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. The other tollways, though, are lighter than normal, and 8094 has cleared up. An overnight crash had caused heavier delays eastbound, but now it's all fine. Jim Talamonte at ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
A great night out awaits you courtesy of ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Take advantage of a deal for a sumptuous dinner at the award-winning Buckingham Steakhouse. Enjoy an evening surrounded by luxurious decor and attentive service, all while dining on the finest in prime steaks and seafood. You can buy a $100 certificate for only $60. Hey, are you tired of visiting the usual burger joints? Well, give your taste buds a thrill at Prime Burger House. Be blown away with the decadence of their handcrafted creations like the Surf and Turf Burger, which combines their butchered on-site prime beef patty with a lobster tail perched on top. It's good. A $50 gift certificate, only $30 at CRD. There's even awesome deals for the Indulge Show Kitchen Seafood Buffet and regular buffet. Now, these family-friendly restaurants are located in the Pavilion at the Grand Victoria in Elgin. See details at ChicagoRadioDeals.com and the restaurant listings. Check in every week for dinner and entertainment deals only at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
I stopped taking artificially produced multivitamins, and I tried the Balance of Nature because it just makes sense. What's more natural than actual food? It just rings true. It just makes sense, and from a scientific standpoint, it makes sense also. You're supposed to be getting nutrition from whole foods. I definitely feel better overall. My energy level is better.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, all right.
That's a great idea.
What's that?
What you suggested for my friend's son.
I got lots of good ideas.
Yeah, you do.
All right, we're talking climate change and the data that the government won't release to support or perhaps not support the claims that are being made on climate change. Patty in Glenview, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. I find it kind of odd that all of these intellectuals, if you grew up in the Midwest, the Great Lakes were formed by glaciers melting. If you read any history past, prior to 1940, in the late 20s and all the 30s, temperatures around here were up to 118 degrees in the summer. I just don't understand why they don't, when they don't realize that climate change has been going on forever. I just don't understand them.
Thanks for the call, Patty, because they want that carbon tax money, that sweet, sweet nectar of carbon tax money. Daniel in Algonquin.
Yeah, hey, thanks, Dan and Amy. I
although cronyism that's involved in this program, you touched on it a little bit, but they absolutely cannot stand up to debate, and that's why they only offer crony review, not a real peer review.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Dane. I mean, the statements by Mayor, the Sierra Club president, are just fascinating. This is our position, and the debate is over. There's no more debate. An explanation of his position. Yeah. I mean, it's like a fourth grader. It is because I said
would
so.
Have a more intelligent answer.
Yeah, right, actually. Chuck in Delvin, Wisconsin.
Back in 2006, I ran for Congress in Northwest Indiana. They're also trying to reduce everybody's carbon footprint with these alcohol factories. And if you look up Babcock and Brown down in Rensselaer, Indiana, our congressman at the time gave $40 million in a grant to that company. And before they got even one drop of alcohol out of it, the people that was the consortium that put that up sold it to Babcock and Brown. Then they took their dog and pony show to Hennepin, Illinois, and they did the same thing over again. And they keep duping the taxpayers with these windmills and with these alcohol factories. I want to know when they're going to finally decide to stay out of my pockets. I can't handle these people spending this money on this. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, Chuck. And then Chuck was exiled to Wisconsin. Sean in Elmwood Park.
It generates trillions of dollars, but in order to defeat the scam, you need the kind of questioning and the kind of demanding for answers that Ted Cruz just showed you. Because when a liar, we just keep asking a liar why. Ultimately, you will tear down the foundation of their lies. And that is all of what we see. But more troubling than all of this is that we had two congressmen, both Gold and Kinzinger, just finance this kind of nonsense. The idea that these two congressmen just okayed a blind budget riddled with the kind of scandals. Why didn't they negotiate? Why wouldn't you say, you didn't sign the defense bill, now we're going to defund the EPA. Now we'll defund the Interior Department. Now we'll defund the IRS. Because they like the Hobson choices. Because it's within those choices, they have the likable, I was in the corner, I had to do it. And in the meantime, the scam goes on, and I am sick of it.
Thanks for the call, Sean. And the Hobson's Choice reference. Good movie. Check that out.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Michelle DeVal from DeVal Jewelers. Dennis and I want you to know that when you sell your diamonds, gold, silver, platinum, and estate jewelry to us, we will strive to give you the highest cash payment possible.
And all transactions are strictly confidential. There's absolutely no pressure. And like Michelle said, we can pay you 50% more by eliminating the middleman. Why? Because we are direct buyers.
We buy certified diamonds and engagement rings, 1/2 carat and above, broken and used gold jewelry, estate jewelry, gold and silver coins, and more. We really do understand the sentimental value and pledge to be considerate, knowledgeable, and private.
We have been Chicagoland's family jeweler for over 100 years. We take pride in having the perfect jewelry selection for every budget and taste preference.
We're just south of the Kennedy on Harlem Avenue in Harwood Heights. Call us at 708-867-8200. That's 708-867-8200 or visit DAVALLE.com.
DeVal Jewelers, more bling
and less sting.
I absolutely love my pillow. Can't sleep without it, and I'm not alone. Sam here. Let me introduce you to him. He's a avid listener, loves AM 560, and now he loves his My Pillow.
I'm sleeping through the night a whole lot better than I used to because it does conform to your head and it doesn't seem to crush down. The other pillows I've had, I used them. They didn't work well. Turning to My Pillow, I looked at that and I said, this is probably something just like the ones I've got. It turned out to be a whole lot different, a whole lot better.
So if you want to be better like Sam, go to MyPillow.com, type Amy in the promo code, and you'll get 2 My Pillows for the price of 1. Now, this deal isn't going to last forever, so do it today. MyPillow.com, promo code Amy, 2 pillows for the price of 1. My Pillow, the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. American made. It's perfect if you have problems with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia like Sam had, allergies, and more. Plus, My Pillow is washable. And again, it keeps its shape to give you support where you need it most. MyPillow.com, promo code Amy, or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
AM 560, The Answer.
And coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark will be here. And we're going to ask him why he thinks Black Lives Matter movement will join forces with ISIS.
Not Milwaukee County Sheriff anymore. America's sheriff.
Oh, okay.
America's sheriff.
Thank you for letting me know. But first, let's go back into the newsroom and get in the know with Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Partly cloudy skies. Sunrise just about here, 41 degrees. President Obama will see a compromise budget and a debt deal on his desk today. The bill funds the government for 2 years, extends the federal debt limit until March of 2017, and breaking down the details, Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland.
There was strong opposition in the Senate to the spending plan that puts off a fight over the debt ceiling, allowing the government to borrow more and avoids a partial government shutdown. Some Republican presidential candidates left the campaign trail to oppose the legislation, including Senators Ted Cruz and Rand Paul.
It's a rotten deal. It's not conservative. It's going to explode the debt.
But fellow White House contender Lindsey Graham called the agreement
a small step in the right direction. If I were president of the United States, I would cancel these defense cuts.
The legislation is now on its way to the president's desk for his signature. In Washington, Rachel Sutherland, Fox News Radio.
Thousands of drug offenders could get out of prison today as the Justice Department is set to begin releasing over 6,000 federal drug offenders. Authorities are investigating a jet fire at a Florida airport. Passengers were on board a Dynamic Airways flight when they evacuated when a left engine caught fire. Mike Jackals is with the Broward County Sheriff's Office as one person remains in surgery.
One person, we don't know if it's crew member or passenger, sustained serious burns, serious injuries. That was the most serious of all of the 15 that were transported by Broward Sheriff Fire Rescue and other agencies.
The NTSB now says 15 were injured in that jet fire. A suburban Chicago man pleading guilty to allegations he tried to join ISIS terrorists. A plea deal unsealed yesterday says prosecutors are recommending a 5-year prison term for Muhammad Khan. A 911 dispatcher is out of a job after she sent paramedics in northwest Indiana to the wrong address for a man who later died. Lake County, Indiana officials say the woman has been let go after entering wrong information and making other mistakes after taking a call from the late Kenneth Booker in Griffith on Monday night. And Northern Illinois University says the decision to sell beer at Husky Stadium during football games has had a big payoff, monetarily and in public safety. University police say alcohol-related calls during games have dropped dramatically since beer sales began in the second week of the football season. They believe it's due to fans not binge drinking before games and going into the stadium. And there has been a profit from the sales. Sodexo, which provides those concessions, cannot give an exact number, but say beer sales rose 30% from Game 1 to Game 2. World Series tonight, Mets and Royals. Last night on the ice, Winnipeg beat the Blackhawks 3-1. The news, a service of Unbound. Poverty doesn't discriminate. It feeds on the forgotten. At Unbound, they believe in the collective wisdom of society's oldest and most vulnerable. Learn more at unbound.org. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager always puts tragedy in perspective.
I'd like a politician on the left, any Democrat, any activist for more gun laws, to be asked this question. What do you think is more likely to reduce murders by firearm? Not by knives even, but by firearms. More gun laws or more fathers?
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
I am Willie Wilson, candidate for President of the United States. As your president, we must take care of our country first.
Paid for by Willie Wilson 2016.
Cornerstone National Bank believes trust, service, and relationship is the foundation of a business banking partnership. Cornerstone National Bank and Trust Company, where you belong. Visit cornerstonenb.com. Member FDIC.
Are you embarrassed by your old tired-looking blinds? When you think about replacing them, do you feel overwhelmed? When you think about not replacing them, do you still feel embarrassed? Then you need to go to Blinds.com. Blinds.com is the world's #1 online blind store. With over 25 years of experience selling blinds and only blinds, they have everything you need to make the entire process easy peasy. There's a huge selection right at your fingertips. You can watch helpful videos or get a free design consultation. And they have brand new offers each week. Blinds.com will work with you every awesome step of the way to make sure your blinds look absolutely perfect. Best of all, shop risk-free with the SureFit Guarantee. Even if if you mismeasure, Blinds.com will remake your window treatment for free. No hassle, just great-looking blinds. So go to Blinds.com, replace those tired old blinds, and hold your head up high, America. Go to Blinds.com or call 888-4BLINDS. That's 888-4-BLINDS. There's a great deal waiting, so call or go to Blinds.com today.
Got a lot on your to-do list? Now, during Kubota's Power to Do Great Things sales event, get a great deal on an L3301 or 3901 tractor with a live continuous running rear PTO. Now get financing as low as 0% APR for up to 5 years, and great customer instant rebates when you buy a new L3301 or 3901 and 2 implements. Now through December 31st, 2015. Call toll-free 1-888-465-8268 for details about cost and terms. For more information or to find a participating dealer, visit Kubota.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, roasted fresh daily in Batavia, Illinois.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
7:37 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Edens has delays from Peterson to the junction. It's 27 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 24. There's a stall at Wilson in the left lane. The Kennedy is now 50 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 39. The Eisenhower, 48 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 37. Stevenson running 54 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound is 35. The Ryan, 35 minutes, 95th to the Loop. Lakeshore Drive has southbound delays, Belmont to North Avenue, northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson. Northbound Tri-State, slow 83rd to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Veterans Memorial, slow Boughton to the Reagan Tollway, Butterfield to Roosevelt, Army Trail to 290. Traffic service, the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. Someone you know is suffering from Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. They're dealing with excruciating pain, days when they won't be able to get out of bed. Help someone you know, support the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, ccfa.org. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. A dry day ahead, warmer clouds and sunshine, high 55. As Riverside Brookfield takes on St. Ignatius tonight in high school football. Go Bulldogs. Low of 44 tonight. Tomorrow in Dan's Bennett Academy takes on St. Charles North at 1 in the rain. Tomorrow, high 52. Currently 36 at O'Hare, 41 along the lake. Next news coming up at 8. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Kelly Financial Services, helping you secure your financial future today. Visit KellyFinancialServicesInc.com.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. What is up? Dan Prof. Amy Jacobson. So, Amy, I have made the unilateral decision that Sheriff David Clark no longer belongs to Milwaukee County.
Mm-hmm.
He belongs to America now.
Oh, okay.
Because he is the only one that, one of the few, actually, in law enforcement that was willing to stand up to the President of the United States and willing to call out nonsense in this space when the President does, as he did earlier this week, and pretends to try and provide a reasonable middle ground between Black Lives Matter agitators and law enforcement officers, which is what the president tried to do when he spoke to the police chiefs convention here in Chicago on Tuesday. I wasn't buying it. Sheriff David Clark wasn't buying it. He's in a much stronger moral and professional position than I am, so I'm deferring to him as he joins us now. Sheriff Clark, thanks so much for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Wow, what an honor. Dan and Amy, it's good to talk to you.
So you had some choice. Black Lives Matter had some choice words for you, and you had some choice words right back in terms of the damage that you think this movement and the coverage they're receiving is having on law enforcement officers in this country. Could you expound on that a bit?
Sure. This political movement, and that's what it is now, it's a full movement, if you will. Its premise was based on a lie. This is the bastard child of the hands up, don't shoot, which turned out to be a lie. Therefore, I believe that this movement is illegitimate. They produce no empirical evidence for any of their claims of racism, of police brutality, as a custom or a institutionalized behavior within the police profession. And they've been given voice by some powerful people and entities, including the mainstream media, the Democratic Party, the President of the United States, and others. I'm tired of them slandering the character, the honor, the integrity, the sacrifice of the American police officer for some short-term political gain.
I agree with you about Black Lives Matter and their alleged mission, but don't you think you might lose the argument when on Twitter on Tuesday you said that Black Lives Matter and ISIS would soon be working together to destroy America? Can you explain that tweet?
First of all, I don't think I lose any credibility at all when I say that. I've been right on every prediction I've made about this group. I said last December that this was a political movement. I said last December that this was an anarchist movement. This Black Lives Matter, if you look at, other than the few people you see on a consistent basis speaking out, if you look at these protests, what you see are cop-hating anarchists. You see organized labor there, SEIU. You see some leftovers from the Occupy movement. You see, young white males, white females, and you have criminals involved in this. Look at the Baltimore riots. That's who makes up this group. What I was saying, referring to the other day with ISIS is looking to infiltrate legitimate movements in the United States. This is not a legitimate movement, but they're looking to infiltrate. That's what they do. And then they work behind the scenes. You see how they operate over in the Middle East. They live among law-abiding people in the Middle East and put them in harm's way so that they can operate in a stealth fashion. This movement will be seized upon by groups like this. The other day, the Iranian government spoke up about the Black Lives Matter movement and kind of backed up their claims about police brutality and has invited the parents of people who have been killed justifiably by law enforcement officers in self-defense fashion. They have invited them over for a conference. I will be right on this as well.
We're talking to Sheriff David Clarke, Sheriff of Milwaukee County, of course. Sheriff Clarke, what was your reaction to President Obama's remarks this week at that convention in Chicago of police chiefs from around the country, where he talked about, hey, most of the time when I was pulled over before I had a motorcade, most of the time, I did something wrong. I'd committed a traffic violation, or maybe I was smoking dope with my friends. He didn't say that, but I'm just extrapolating. But there were some times where I didn't know why I was pulled over, and we have to admit that that's an indication that there is racism that is within the system. I mean, essentially insinuating that there is systemic racism within law enforcement.
Well, there's not. He said nothing there that he hasn't said before, and it doesn't surprise me anymore. I think it's sick. I think it's warped. I think it's pathetic. This has been one of the most anti-police presidents in the history of modern times, and I cannot believe that my fellow law enforcement executives, the International Association of Chiefs of Police, an organization that I am a member of, that I will be resigning my membership in light of the fact that they have gotten in bed with this anti-cop president, and they sat up there and nodded their heads and polite applause to some of the things that he's saying, which are not true. Among other things, he's in bed. The president is in bed with the criminal element. This mass prison release has opened the gates of hell. That's the way one person referred to it, and I like that, so I'm going to use it. President Obama has opened the gates of hell on the American ghetto with this mass prison release. He is pro-criminal. He is anti-cop. And how this group of police chiefs can sit up there and get in bed with this guy, get behind this de-incarceration movement that's sweeping the country. He and some of the chiefs I heard say, well, we can't arrest our way out of this problem. That is a bold-faced lie. We have arrested our way out of this problem. We did it in the 90s. The steep decreases in crime in the 90s and the early 2000s was the result of cracking down on this stuff, finding these career criminals, these perpetrators of violence, putting them in prison under due process for the longest period of time allowable by law. How they can sit up there and say we can't arrest our way out of this, how law enforcement executives can abandon their duty and responsibility to law-abiding people and start becoming criminal advocates is a very slippery slope. And I'm very worried about this now that police chiefs have gotten in bed with Barack Obama.
But again, you're so upset by this meeting that they had that you're willing to revoke your union membership?
Yes. To me, it doesn't mean that much anyway if they're going to do this, if they're going to behave in this sort of fashion. I don't want anything to do with an organization that's going to become pro-criminal.
We're talking to, again, Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clarke. And Sheriff Clarke, I have to ask you, because it's kind of fascinating. I mean, you're an elected official, multiple-time elected official. Milwaukee County, not exactly a bastion of conservatism. It's kind of mirrors Cook County in terms of registered Democrats versus Republicans. I wonder, with the offerings, the opinions you offer in no uncertain terms, what the reaction has been among your constituency in Milwaukee County. How does that go, and how much do you care, frankly?
Oh, I care very much because I serve people. I'm a public servant.
All right.
But the fact is that I get overwhelming support here in Milwaukee County on these issues because the things I talk about, Dan and Amy, they transcend race, they transcend gender, they transcend age, and all of these other demographics. People want to be safe. They want to be shielded from the violence and the violent criminal element that exists in Milwaukee County. Milwaukee's an urban county, smaller than Cook County, but its demographics are somewhat similar per capita. They don't like crime. They don't like the criminal element. They know that my heart is in the right place when it comes to these issues, and they throw out all the other stuff about is he a Democrat, is he a Republican, is he a conservative. They know that this sheriff will go to the wall and do everything within his power and the Constitution to defend them and keep them safe.
It's a great example of substantive leadership building consensus. Really incredible. Sheriff David Clarke, Sheriff of Milwaukee County, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
People can follow me at Sheriff Clarke, Clarke. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Don't miss Freedom Summit Chicago 2015 on November 14th with Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland. Get your tickets at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Coming up next, Glamour's Women of the Year honors somebody who's not, well, just you'll hear it. But first, here's your forecast. Plenty of sunshine today, no wind, beautiful day. A high of 55 degrees. Tomorrow for trick-or-treating, not so good. It's going to be breezy, rain at times, mostly on and off throughout the morning and afternoon hours. Sorry, trick-or-treaters, a high of 52 degrees. And, of course, Sunday's going to be perfect and pleasant, warmer, plenty of sunshine, a high of 64 for the Bears-Vikings game. Kickoff is at noon. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Eden's inbound. Stop and go Peterson to the junction. 27 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose outbound 23. The Kennedy. Now 56 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. 36 from Montrose. 34 in the Express. Outbound 39 minutes to the airport from downtown. The Eisenhower. 53 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop. Outbound just 33. Stevenson. 58 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. It's fine outbound. Ryan. 35 minutes. 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State. Heavy from the 83rd Street toll to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Adams Tollway a little heavy from Roselle to Meacham. Reagan Tollway, Farnsworth to Viola. Veterans Memorial slow out into the Reagan Tollway. Butterfield to Roosevelt. Army Trail to 290, but it is a little lighter than normal. Northwest Indiana now fine. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
And I'm Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. That's right, I'm now Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. I'm the same guy that's provided listeners with honest advice and outstanding customer service for the past 13 years. The only thing that's changed is where I work. When you want to refinance and pay off debt, you called me and I helped you. When your kids were purchasing their first home and you wanted to make sure they were working with a trustworthy lender, you called me and I helped them. If you would like to talk to me about a mortgage, please give me a call at 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. Email me at david@pearldavid.com. That's david@PERLDavid.com. Or visit my website, am560david.com. 312-751-1333. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358, licensed by DBO under California RMLA and MLS 19186, pearlmortgage.com licensing.
Your audiovisual experience is one that's supposed to be enjoyable. If your home or office lacks the big-time performance you really need, it's time to be shocked with options from Sound Design. Sound Design has the technical background to build it all. They know the value of seeing a project through to the end. And Sound Design will stick with you until you're satisfied, even post-job. Home theaters, office video, and sound design. Sure, you can go order equipment from a big box store, but then what? Yikes. Sound Design knows they set the industry standard. This is a company that will take a potential new customer to a current customer space to show off their handiwork. That's why people rave about audio and visual solutions from Sound Design. Be sure to get a demo of the Bang & Olufsen speakers, where sophisticated, sleek design meets amazing sound and function. You can visit sounddesigninc.com, but if you really want expert answers to your questions, call 630-548-7000. That's 630-548-7000. Sound Design, where quality service and installation makes the difference.
This is Dan Proft with an Upstream Idea, brought to you in part by the Illinois Policy Institute. In the brave new world of big data, sometimes we forget that politics is about people's lives. When we forget this fundamental truth, people without political clout get hurt, and all of us suffer a loss of dignity in the process. And so the number for your consideration in this installment of Illinois by the Numbers is 47. 47th is where Illinois ranks nationally in the provision of services to persons with developmental disabilities. Providing or not providing for those who need state support through no fault of their own is a mirror that reflects our humanity, our moral health. The result is families who have a family member with a developmental disability have fled Illinois, just as entrepreneurs have, to live in, well, more civilized states. This is happening on our watch. As an Illinois resident, this is happening on my watch. We are all culpable, and now none of us can any longer pretend not to know. For more ideas like this, visit upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. I'm Dan Proft.
AM 560, The Answer.
I'm woman. Numbers too big to ignore.
Come on, sing it, Dan. I know this is your favorite song, your Helen Reddy song.
I'm more of a feminist than you are. I called out Marco Rubio for his sexist comment suggesting his wife didn't know what Sally Mae was.
That's true. All right. Well, the list is out, Dan. Glamour's Women of the Year list.
Oh, boy.
And Reese Witherspoon's on the cover of the magazine. They can't choose just one, so they have Women of the Year. There's 25 of them.
Oh, participation trophies.
Yes, everyone goes home a winner. But one person making
what
controversy.
Matters? You know where beauty matters?
In
here. That's where it matters.
Okay.
Maybe they should do an issue about that.
Okay. Thank you. Internal beauty. One person on the list that was causing controversy because she is not a she. She is a he, a shim. Call it
Hillary?
what you want. No, Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner's on the list as one of the Women of the Year.
So a Y chromosome does not DQ you from the list. Interesting.
Well, of course, people, when they saw the list, they took to social media promoting there's a backlash against Glamour magazine because including a transgender woman, they don't believe is appropriate because she's not fully a woman yet.
He is not a woman, right?
He is not a woman.
I could see where that
Glamour's
would create
editor-in-chief said in an interview that criticism of Jenner's inclusion certainly gives you an appreciation for the hostility to the trans community that still exists out there.
Celebrates the
challenge. Awards, she says, are intended to honor diversity among women leaders and trailblazers. So, that's their response. But guess who else is on this list? I don't even know if I want to tell you because you're having such a good day and this might ruin your day. Also, Reese Witherspoon, obviously.
Lisa Madigan?
No, Misty Copeland and 5 women. This is the one I agree with. 5 women touched by the South Carolina church massacre.
Yeah.
So they're honored for their bravery and peacekeepers of Charleston. I don't know if I should tell you. Victoria Beckham, no problem. All right, I'm just going to say it. Cecilia Richards. She's on the list. Yeah. She's going to be honored at a gala November 9th at Carnegie Hall. So if you're not busy, maybe you could go.
Cecile Richards being honored for killing women, and a man pretending to be a woman honored Women of the Year. But I will say this. I don't know if you know this. Caitlyn Jenner did win Moose Knuckle of the Year.
I could care less about these snooty broads.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. And now, a moment of objectivism with your Ron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
From childhood, we're taught that to be moral is to be altruistic. For philosopher Ayn Rand, no doctrine could be more evil. Altruism, Rand explained, does not mean being kind or generous towards others. Instead, altruism is the moral philosophy that says you don't have a right to exist for your own sake. It's the idea that service to others is the only justification for your existence, and that self-sacrifice is your highest moral duty, virtue, and value. Altruism is hostile to the founding principles of this great country and what makes human life great, that each individual has the inalienable right to pursue his own life and happiness. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Yaron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Yaron Brook Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ariradio.com.
Why are Ayn Rand's ideas so compelling? Her worldview, her philosophy, expressed dramatically in her novels Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, embodies the ideals stated by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence and sets forth the requirements necessary to achieve a flourishing life. She called her philosophy objectivism and said it was a philosophy for living on Earth. Today, decades after her death, objectivism continues to stir debate and inspire passion for the spirit of individualism and the enduring American dream.
I'm Lex, CEO of Balance of Nature. At Balance of Nature, we believe in real communication. Whether you call into the office or hear a success story on the radio, you can be sure it's real, unsolicited, and unscripted conversation.
I had anemia. That's when I got on to Balance of Nature. Then when I came off it, I got anemia again. That's one of the reasons I got back on it. I said, you know what, let me call them up and let me start doing the right thing. I made a mistake by getting off it. I think this is a good product, and I'm going to just stick with it.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
Hi, I'm Tom Sadeka, CEO of Precision Apparel of America. We're the 32-year-old company whose first employee and first client are still working together. Every chance I get, we like to thank our active duty military and our veterans. In addition, we proudly serve and support Operation Support Our Troops America.
Thanks, Tom. I'm Deb Rickert, founder of OSAD America, mom of 2 service members, and 1 happy Precision Payroll client. We are so happy to work with Tom's team at Precision Payroll to take care of those regulatory headaches so that we can focus on serving our active duty and veteran communities. Your support is so important. Thank you.
Deb, thanks for all you do. And anybody who's listening who signs up with us, we will make a donation to OSAT America on their behalf. So please call me at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507. We're on the web at precisionpayroll.com. Let's make a difference together.
It's that time of year. There's going to be a lot that scares you. Replacing your windows shouldn't be one of them. Right now, get 2 windows for the price of 1, plus no money down and no interest until 2017. Say goodbye to high heating bills with energy-efficient windows from Feldco. Hurry, this treat and 2 windows for the price of 1 ends tomorrow. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
The Yellow Line finally running today, and the Blackhawks winning streak ends. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. They sealed the deal at 3 a.m. Senators approving a 2-year budget, a bipartisan compromise that some Republicans like Ted Cruz, who's running for president, don't support.
If you are not willing to fight on any must-pass legislation, we will not win anything.
Fox News Radio's John Decker's live at the White House.
The spending bill passed by the Senate just hours ago boosts military and domestic spending and, most importantly, averts a partial government shutdown in December. The bill also raises the debt limit through 2017. In a statement released this morning, the president said he applauds the Democrats and Republicans who helped pass what he called a responsible long-term budget agreement that reflects our values, grows our economy, and creates jobs. The president said he will sign the bill once it reaches his desk. Dave?
John, Secretary of State Kerry's in Vienna for talks with 18 other countries on how to stop Syria's civil war. Russia is warning the U.S. not to send in ground troops, and for the first time, Iran is included in those discussions. Now, Iran has detained another American. Fox News Radio's Simon Owen live in our European bureau.
Dave, Siamak Namazi is an Iranian-American businessman who lives in Dubai. It's thought he was visiting family in Iran and he was barred from leaving the country in July and then detained earlier this month, perhaps over business dealings. He's now being held in solitary confinement in prison, this according to a Reuters report. Namazi joins 3 other Iranian-Americans detained in Iran, another diplomatic obstacle between the countries. Dave?
Simon, a little American girl is in a San Antonio hospital, shot in the back by Mexican Army soldiers as her family's car got caught in the middle of a drug suspect chase just south of the Texas border last week. A manhunt's over in Kentucky. Floyd Ray Cook was found, then died in a shootout early this morning.
I don't know what resources he had available to him, and we may not ever know.
State Trooper Billy Gregory Cook has been on the run since shooting a Tennessee cop Saturday and firing at police in Kentucky. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
This morning we have sunshine in Chicago. 8:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning, I'm Mike Scott. The CTA's Yellow Line up and running for the first time in 5 months. The line suspended in May, you may recall, when an embankment collapsed in Skokie. CTA techs performed test runs this week. Free rides are up through November 6 for commuters who board at the Dempster and Oakton stations on the Skokie Swift. A suburban Chicago gymnastics coach accused of sexually abusing 2 children with disabilities during a trip to Georgia for a competition there has waived extradition from this state. 48-year-old Patricia Herman of Schaumburg is charged with 3 counts of sexual battery against a minor and 1 count of aggravated sexual battery in Cobb County, Georgia. She currently is being held in the Cook County Jail. A 911 dispatcher is out of a job after she sent paramedics to the wrong address for an Indiana man who later died. Lake County officials say Natalia Avila has been let go after entering wrong information and making other mistakes while taking a call from Kenneth Booker in Griffith on Monday night. Chicago sports, Winnipeg beat the Blackhawks 3-1. Patrick Kane scoring the game's first goal and the lone goal for the Hawks, number 6 on the year for him. NBA tonight, the Bulls take on the Pistons in Detroit, and the Blackhawks are back on the ice at Minnesota. Our NIU Huskies are off this weekend. They take on Toledo next. 8:03, it's time for the AM 560 Business Beat. And from the Fox Business Network this morning, here is Hank Weinblum.
From the Fox Business Network, stock futures are higher on this last trading day of the month. October is ending quite a bit rosier than it started on Wall Street. Many stocks made up ground that they lost over the summer slump. The price of crude oil is lower, below $46 a barrel. Owners of Dodge Journeys and Fiat Fremonts had been complaining about the anti-lock braking systems on their vehicles. Fiat Chrysler investigated and then ordered a recall, and there are some airbag recalls too. Jeep Grand Cherokees and Liberties and Honda Accords all need to have their airbags looked at. Check with your dealer. You may have heard about this. China for a long time had a law saying parents could have only 1 child. But China decided to get rid of that law. The result, stocks of diaper makers, baby formula, strollers, things like that, all on the rise. A company called China Child Care Corporation saw its shares rise 40%. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Hank Weinblum.
One event. One day only. One day only. With all of these names together. Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, K.T. McFarland, Katie Pavlich, and Guy Benson. It's Freedom Summit Chicago 2015, November 14th in Itasca. Tickets begin at just $29 and are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com. Don't miss this exclusive event. Go to freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com.
I spend my days helping others. It's rewarding, just not always financially. So I got TIAA-CREF. They were founded to help people like me meet our financial goals. They've got so many industry accolades, it's unreal. I like taking care of people. Sometimes that even includes myself.
Intelligent investing for the long term. Just what you'd expect from a company that's created to serve and built to perform. Visit TIAA.org. TIAA-CREF Individual and Institutional Services, LLC. This testimonial is an actor portrayal. Investing involves risk. Individual results will vary.
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And Contour Next gives you a second chance, allowing you to reapply to the same strip when the first sample is not enough, saving you time and money. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Find Contour Next at your local Meijer.
It's 8:06 in Chicago. Time to take comfort with Air Comfort. And time to check the roads. In our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center, here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Kennedy has very slow traffic from Nagel to the Burns Circle. It is an hour and 3 minutes from O'Hare to downtown, 42 minutes from Montrose, 34 the Express, outbound 39 minutes to O'Hare. The Edens, 25 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 22. The Eisenhower, 53 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 34. Stevenson, 54 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Stall just reported near Cass in the center lane. Outbound, it's fine. Ryan, 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive now really jammed. Hollywood to Chicago Avenue. Northbound heavy from the Stevenson to Jackson. Northbound Tri-State slow. The 83rd Street toll most of the way to 31st. And from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Northbound Veterans Memorial slow Boughton to the Reagan Tollway. Butterfield to Roosevelt. Army Trail to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. Here is meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Clouds and sun today with a high 55. Cloudy with a little late-night rain tonight, low 44. Then breezy with rain at times tomorrow, high 52. Patchy clouds at night, low 44. Full day of sunshine for Sunday, high 64. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
36 at O'Hare, 41 along the lakefront, and right now 32 in Aurora. Your next news update is at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Know with Wealth Management Group, hosted by Craig Bolanos. Heard Sunday mornings at 10.
Good morning. Welcome to your Friday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
And it's a new era in Washington as Congressman Paul Ryan officially succeeds John Boehner as the new Speaker of the House, second in line to the presidency.
I leave with no regrets, no burdens. If anything, I leave the way I started. Just a regular guy, humbled by the chance to do a big job.
We are not settling scores. We are wiping the slate clean.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
What up? Good morning, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson. So, Amy, I'm hearing that this morning on Morning Joe, Mayor de Blasio has endorsed Hillary Clinton
Oh my gosh.
for president.
That is going to catapult her.
Well, that is a big socialist endorsement that hurts Bernie Sanders. Look, if Bernie Sanders loses the Castro brothers, I think it's over for him. So, important news on the Democrat front. A lot of news on the Republican front, including Molly Hemingway, a piece that she wrote in the Federalist before the debate. Before the debate that we referenced in discussing the debate to the run-up of the event on Wednesday night, wherein she provided the evidence to drive the conclusion that John Harwood had no business moderating a GOP presidential debate. Maybe Molly Hemingway should be the next RNC chairman. What do you think? I don't know.
Let's start the movement.
She joins us now, Molly Hemingway, senior editor at The Federalist. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
It's great to be here with you.
I'm not saying that I'm not wanting to impose that job of RNC chairman on you. I'm not
But-
saying you should leave the Federalist.
But do you like Dan's idea?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Exactly. Plus, your work at the Federalist is much more important. But to that point of your piece about John Harwood in advance of the debate, you're being ahead of the learning curve. You just looked at some recent tweets, some recent pieces that he had penned. Why weren't Republicans looking at the same things you were looking at and saying, we don't want John Harwood driving this train on Wednesday night?
Yeah, when I heard that he was moderating the debate, I was shocked because I have followed him for a few years, and he doesn't really hide the fact that he's very biased, somewhat inept in his coverage of politics, and just a horrible, horrible choice for a GOP debate moderator, particularly since he didn't have a conservative partner. And I don't know if you remember, but Reince Priebus said that these debates that Republicans were going to take control over them, and that they would have conservative partners, that they wouldn't want the kind of thing happening that happened the other night. And so I just thought I didn't understand why they would be picking Harwood, because he has such a lengthy history of these just ridiculous defenses of Hillary Clinton that don't even pass the smell test, and he's very effusive, almost actually quite embarrassing about his love for President Obama. And there is nothing that any Republican can do that does anything other than meet with his utter disdain. And you saw that in the debate, but I was just looking at examples from the previous few years of that.
So when you watched the debate and you saw John Harwood, you heard him answering or asking the questions. What do you think is the most
And trying to answer some, too.
Well, yeah, but what was the most egregious part of his moderating attempt?
Even worse than the fact that the questions themselves were somewhat inept, was just the undue hostility in them. So he would ask the question, and then he would immediately, butt in with, just anger and whatnot. It was not that the general topic area was wrong per se. It was that the way the questions were framed were just so deeply flawed. And then, of course, he had the egregious error with the Marco Rubio question, where he sort of came up with his own characterization of Marco Rubio's tax plan. And when Marco Rubio had him dead to rights, pointing out that his last time he took him on, he actually had to correct what he had been saying about it. It was a debacle.
Well,
and by the way,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, to say, Marco Rubio had pointed out that the last time Harwood had talked about the tax plan, he had to correct what he had said, which is true. He did have to correct what he had said. But just in the aftermath of the debate, Harwood is still saying that he didn't get it wrong. So, he's too stupid to even understand what he got right and what he got wrong. It's just, anyway.
Well, that was the interesting thing. So after the debate, he referenced the Tax Foundation analysis as the basis for his question and interpretation. The President of the Tax Foundation comes out and says, that is not anything remotely close to what we said about Rubio's tax plan. And he stands by it. It's like, it reminded me of the story a couple years ago when we still had Ahmadinejad as president of Iran before we ushered in this era of peace with Iran. And the story The Onion did, that Ahmadinejad is more popular in West Virginia than President Obama. The Iranian news agency re-releases the story. Then they're told that The Onion is a satirical outlet, and their response is, I stand by the story. It's like it's John Harwood. But the other interesting thing about CNBC, and maybe why this got past Reince and the boys over at the RNC, is, CNBC, this is a financially driven network. They're going to stick to economic questions and focus on that. But here's the thing that I thought was interesting, and I'm not sure this has been pointed out by anybody. To me, other than Rick Santelli, because there was antagonism from Jim Cramer and others as well, it wasn't just Harwood. To me, this highlights something that Republicans need to embrace and promote, which is that is a Wall Street network. Those are Wall Street, Eastern establishment types. And the Republican Party is not the party of Wall Street, and Wall Street doesn't want and is not affiliated with the Republican Party. It's actually quite hostile, particularly to the free enterprise portion of the Republican Party. And that was a great opportunity to watch that on display.
Thank you so much for saying this. I don't understand why this perception persists that Wall Street and the Republicans go together. Well, that's not even true in a fundraising sense. When you look at what people at Wall Street, who they give money to, it's overwhelmingly Democrats. And so I don't understand why the media just treat it as if it's this de facto Republican group. That's far from the truth. But if you watch CNBC, and I know that very few people do, but if you watch it, it shouldn't be surprising that it has that liberal bent. And even people like Santelli and even Kudlow, who would be the most, Kudlow would be the most conservative probably.
Right.
And Santelli is more a populist, not a conservative. And so that is true that the Republicans thought that those people would be sufficiently conservative to balance out the, Harwood types. That was obviously not true because they barely were present. And also, they're not really, there's a difference between being a populist and being a conservative, although sometimes they overlap, and they shouldn't confuse the two.
Now, besides the moderator, let's talk about the candidates. Who do you think won the debate, and is Jeb Bush over? Because that was a do or die time for him to, jumpstart his campaign, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate because I think Jeb Bush is a much better working politician than he is a candidate. He actually has good ideas. His policies are good. He would make a good president, but he certainly is just awful on the campaign front. Obviously, Marco Rubio did a fantastic job of turning the negatives around into positives. Anytime he got hit by a difficult question, he did a very good job of turning it into a positive for him. I thought Carly Fiorina did the best job of actually articulating conservative beliefs.
Yeah.
She does, whereas most of the candidates talk about why they'll be the best candidate for this, that, or the other. She seems to do a good job of moving the ball in terms of explaining why conservatives believe what they do, why they're opposed to socialism, why they worry about increases in the size and scope of government. And I thought Ted Cruz had that amazing moment where he did such a good job of articulating the frustration that conservatives have with a biased and incompetent and just unduly hostile media and how ridiculous they sound. And I think he basically framed the entire debate with his response to yet another hostile question.
We're talking to Molly Hemingway, senior editor at The Federalist, thefederalist.com. And Molly, speaking of how ridiculous the media is, and Carly Fiorina, the ladies at The View yesterday, very interesting. They referred to Carly Fiorina as looking demented. Joy Behar saying Carly Fiorina Halloween mask doesn't strike me as terribly dissimilar to what Donald Trump said when he said,
look at that face.
Look at that. How could you elect a face like that? Whatever he said, words to that effect. And so, boy, liberal women really don't like conservative women, do they?
Well, it's something that conservative women are used to. That and Carly Fiorina has it worse because she is so competent, and she's everything that liberal women wish their female politicians were. And she's so good at it, so unflappable, and so yeah, it's really sad to see people. These same women on The View would be apoplectic with rage if anyone said something similar about their girl Hillary Clinton. But they have no qualms about treating conservative women this way. And this is part of a pattern. Conservative women, I remember a few years ago, there was some liberal who said that conservative women weren't real women. And I just heard Gloria Steinem say something like that last night. And it's just so frustrating for those of us that don't buy into like far left radical feminist ideology that we're not even treated as women. Even if we're the majority of the country.
Carly Fiorina is not a woman, but Caitlyn Jenner is.
Yeah, that's what
Got
I was
it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They applaud Caitlyn Jenner, who hasn't even had the gender change operation yet. But how can we combat that? I mean, how can you ever change the liberal woman's mind?
Well, I do. I think there's another part of this, which is that the reason why people are so hostile is in part because they do admire women like Carly Fiorina. And after, I can't remember if it was the first debate or the second debate, I saw all these articles on feminist websites saying, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I really like Carly Fiorina. Mm-hmm. And I think that, what you're seeing is just a flip side of that same coin, which is she is appealing to women. When Fiorina said during the debate, like, in your heart of hearts, you want me to debate Hillary, I think that's true. And that's why some people are reacting very negatively about it, and some people are reacting very positively. But of course, our media are just so in the bag on the left. But I don't know. I think you just continue being competent, you continue articulating your message, and you stay calm. And I think that many female politicians have learned that, and the Republican Party has done pretty good work in getting many more female politicians out on the scene. And they actually tell them, when you're faced with sexism like this, you can briefly acknowledge it and then just move on. So it's not like you pretend it's not happening. You admit it's happening, but then you just move on into the things you want to talk about. And I think that's good advice for people in general who are faced with this type of bias.
Before we let you go, you've written a number of really excellent pieces on the Planned Parenthood matter, the funding of it, the videos that have led to this national conversation. It was one of Carly Fiorina's great moments in the second debate, not a topic in the third debate, and it seems to have faded a little bit because defunding fizzled. Where do you see this battle over Planned Parenthood funding and Planned Parenthood's role in America at present?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure it's fizzled. I think that what's happening is people are taking they're taking what we've learned from these Planned Parenthood videos, and they are doing stuff at the local, state, and federal level.
Mm-hmm.
And the media are not talking. I mean, the media have always struggled to talk about it, but they are really they're really hiding it now, because I think they know that despite all of their best efforts to play flim-flam games with these videos or claim that they're edited or whatnot, that this story keeps going. And so I think they've now decided just to be totally silent about it. But you're seeing investigations at the state level. You're seeing defunding efforts at the state level. Planned Parenthood's name is so sullied, it's ridiculous. I don't know if they can ever recover, even just in terms of it's a scandal-ridden, scandal-plagued, not just on organ harvesting, but on all sorts of other things. They're just plagued by, they're being run very poorly and corruptly, and they have, there's Medicare fraud, and there's the organs, there's the filth of their clinics that they, frequently have people who are rushed to the hospital because they're just not a good medical organization to work with. So I think that this story will just keep going as it has, and people will try and come up with better options. So one of the things that I think is key is women's health is more important than supporting this arm of the Democratic Party, and so we should see funding moved from Planned Parenthood into community health centers that actually treat the whole body of the woman and not just focused on keeping her uterus empty. And so as these community health centers get more prominent and start lobbying better for those funds, I think you'll see a switch in where the funding goes.
Yep, and we don't even need them anymore because of Obamacare, so... hopefully they'll go away.
Molly Hemingway, senior editor at The Federalist. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And she joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
See Sean Hannity and Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland at Freedom Summit Chicago on November 14th. Tickets on sale at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Today, plenty of sunshine, gorgeous out there, high of 55. Tomorrow for trick-or-treating, there's going to be rain on and off throughout the morning and afternoon, a high of 52 degrees. And, of course, Sunday for your Bears-Vikings game, it's going to be pleasant, plenty of sunshine, warmer, a high of 64. And don't forget to fall back. Daylight savings time is this weekend. Travel times, here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. In Willowbrook, northbound 83 is jammed from I-55 to 63rd with traffic signal issues. Eden's inbound, 24 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 19. The Kennedy, looking at 50 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound just 28. The Eisenhower, 53 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound delay-free. Stevenson, 52 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, fine outbound. Ryan, 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, jammed. Montrose to Chicago Avenue. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
The seasons might change, but birthdays, weddings, celebrations never end. So don't stress about giving the perfect gift. Never go to a party empty-handed when ChicagoRadioDeals.com is just a click away. You can purchase and print a gift certificate the same day. Give a $100 gift certificate to Zembard Jewelers in New Lenox. Here's the deal. You only pay $50 to buy that $100 gift certificate. If you're feeling more generous, well, then check out the Movado watches from Duval Jewelers in Harwood Heights. Nothing is more beautiful than these handcrafted timepieces on the wrist of the person you love. Plus, there is a $200 Duval certificate for only $100. Visit ChicagoRadioDeals.com for great gift ideas, dinners, tickets to live music, comedy, Lake Michigan cruises, overnight stays, spa treatments, and much more. Find them all at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
So, I'm retiring today.
Freedom!
I hate goodbyes, so I've hired singers to follow me around and bid my coworkers farewell.
It's John's last day.
Okay, let's get started. Here's Tom.
Your pranks were amazing, despite what HR says.
Next, Susan.
Your homemade cookies blew his mind and diet.
Finally, Dave.
You never judged him for his popcorn burning.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss you guys.
Ready to give your swan song at work? The Mutual Fund Store can help.
We'll sit down with you one-on-one to talk about your goals. Then we'll put a plan in place to help get you on track. Finally, we'll keep a close eye on your account to make sure you stay on track. Discover how within reach your retirement could be for you with a free portfolio review and consultation.
Hi, I'm Matt Personette with the Mutual Fund Store in Chicagoland. Call me at 888-498-3636 or visit mutualfundstore.com and let's talk about your financial goals today.
In the time you spent listening to this radio spot, you could have completed and submitted an entire expense report with a simple picture of your receipt. That's all it takes for you to get back to work and for your business to run more efficiently. To learn more and discover all the ways Concur helps manage your company's expenses, just go to tryconcur.com for a free test drive.
AM 560, The Answer.
It's here, Dan.
Whoa.
Whoa, what?
That music
is scary.
Michael Myers, that's insensitive to serial killers.
Stop it.
NIU, Northern Illinois University, put out a missive, posted on their website.
Yeah.
I'm reading from it now. Conscientious costumes. NIU encourages Halloween inclusiveness and sensitivity. I mean, could we...
Well, they don't want...
Could we get over it? This is obviously an extension of speech codes and trigger warnings and safe places to riot and all of the rest.
No, they don't want... They want to tell kids that culture is not a costume. They don't want anybody to dress in blackface or to dress up...
That's a fun aphorism.
Oh,
my God. Who the hell cares?
Thank you, Peter Griffin.
Well, same thing with CPS.
Don't dress as Peter Griffin. That's insensitive to fat cartoon people.
CPS, same thing. I don't know why our school is letting kids dress up because it takes away from them learning. But
oh yeah.
Well, no. And one year my son dressed up
CPS.
as a vampire and had to come back home because you cannot wear costumes that scare other kiddies. And he put on some fake blood, and that scared a classmate. And
of course,
he had to go home. So, and then you can't dress up. You cannot. So there's no swords, no objects. You can't dress up as anything scary. You can't wear a scary, spooky mask. No army clothes.
No.
No, nothing with the armed forces. If you want to dress up as an army man.
Can't even go as a ghost. That's insensitive to people who may have had a family member that passed away and are haunting them.
Can't have anything to cover your face.
Ann B. Davis's bowling ball text, dressing as a dwarfed raccoon is offensive to Rahm Emanuel. So you can't go to that. You can't do that.
Well, we were talking about it earlier because Dan, the president of Louisville University, had an early Halloween party, and he and his staff all dressed up as Mexicans, and they wore sombreros and had some blankets and had exaggerated mustaches that they put on, and now there's calls for his resignation this morning.
Can't dress as a Cub or a Bears fan because that's offensive to winning.
That's so
don't just end Halloween.
Well,
and we look.
Yes.
Why don't we just have the 1984 issued uniforms? Everybody wears the same thing. Everybody looks the same way. I mean, eliminate the white people, obviously, because there's a problem. But no speech, no creativity. Just wait for your orders from Inksock. It's such a simpler life that way.
And let me tell you something. You know what really grinds my gears? You, America.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If you could choose any school from which to earn your college degree and be on your way to a better life, would you choose a school the Wall Street Journal recognized for producing some of the best qualified graduates? One the Princeton Review ranked as a leader in undergraduate education? And one U.S. News & World Report named #1 in the nation for innovation ahead of both MIT and Stanford? Discover why Arizona State University is a clear choice for your future. In addition, ASU Online offers over 100 graduate and undergraduate programs you can take 100% online and on your schedule. You'll receive the exact same curriculum, degree, and prestigious faculty as our on-campus students. For information, call 1-800-720-2358. U.S. News & World Report also ranked ASU in the top 10 best places to earn an online degree. So get started today and learn to thrive with Arizona State University online. Call today at 1-800-720-2358. That's 1-800-720-2358.
The most recent U.S. Supreme Court decision on the Affordable Care Act made one thing certain. We will all have to deal with this ever-changing law until at least 2017. If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. That's right, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating AM 560 listeners on the Affordable Care Act for the last 5 years.
Thanks, Dan. If you have a pre-existing condition, a canceled plan, or your premium increased, now's the time to get covered. 2016 open enrollment begins on November 1st and ends on January 31st. During this 90-day window, you cannot be denied coverage. Depending on your income, you may find a more affordable plan. The new healthcare law is very complicated, and you do need guidance. It costs you nothing to use a broker, so why not tap into my expertise?
Thanks, Steve. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
AM 560, The Answer.
Ooh, nice. And coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
we'll talk to former Assistant U.S. Attorney Patrick Collins about the Hastert plea deal and whether it represents justice or injustice. That's at 8:38.
And I really cannot control myself. We have a new cafe coming to Chicago, and it's perfect. We'll explain. But first, let's go back into the newsroom.
Except the dog owners.
Here's Mike Scott.
Might be cat hair in my stuff. There's no way I'm going. 40 degrees outside, sunshine. The Justice Department begins releasing more than 6,000 federal prison inmates today. It's a story we told you about a month ago. Now federal officials say they call the official handoff happening from the Bureau of Prisons to probation the biggest one-time release of federal prisoners in the nation's history. President Obama expected to sign off on a compromise budget and debt deal ahead of Tuesday's debt ceiling deadline. A 6-day manhunt in Kentucky is over after a fatal shootout between police and a fugitive. Floyd Ray Cook died in a shootout with Kentucky State Police and U.S. Marshals. At least 15 are injured, and the NTSB is investigating after a Dynamic Airways jet caught fire at Florida's Fort Lauderdale Airport. Passengers were evacuated from that Boeing 767 after a left engine caught fire. Fiat Chrysler recalling 894,000 Jeep, Dodge, and Fiat SUVs worldwide to fix problems with anti-lock brakes. The House of Representatives has a new speaker, Wisconsin Republican Paul Ryan, taking over as Speaker of the House for John Boehner.
A neglected minority will gum up the works. A respected minority will work in good faith. Instead of trying to stop the majority, they might try to become the majority.
45-year-old Ryan chaired the powerful House Ways and Means Committee. He's the youngest speaker in more than 140 years. The CTA Yellow Line up and running today for the first time in over 5 months. A Northwest Indiana 911 dispatcher is out of a job after she sent paramedics to the wrong address for an Indiana man who later died. And Exelon's nuclear plant in Clinton will keep humming for at least another year, though the company will continue to push for pricing changes. Exelon had threatened to shut down reactors in Clinton, Byron, and the Quad Cities. On the ice, Winnipeg beat the Blackhawks 3-1. NFL last night, Tom Brady in New England rolled Miami 36-7. And on the hardwood tonight, professionally anyway, it's the Bulls taking on Detroit. The news, a service of Stand Up to Cancer, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher wants the left to get real about guns.
Because we know that the shooter in Oregon would have absolutely obeyed the no concealed weapons permit law on campus at Umpqua Community College, right? Of course he would have. He was a good guy. He was just misunderstood. Bunch of damn fools. These people on the left aren't willing to have a serious conversation about guns.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
It's that time of year. There's going to be a lot that scares you. Replacing your windows shouldn't be one of them. Right now, get 2 windows for the price of 1, plus no money down and no interest until 2017. Say goodbye to high heating bills with energy-efficient windows from Feldco. Hurry, this treat and 2 windows for the price of 1 ends tomorrow. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer is a must-have for all busy parents. With just 1 scan to the forehead, Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer takes your child's temperature quickly and accurately. Available at Walgreens.
When flipping houses, there's one golden rule. Cash talks. I'm going to show you how you can easily get $10,000 plus all the cash you'll ever need for free. I'm Andrew Holmes, popular radio show host and founder of Chicago's #1 flipping team. And I've flipped over 600 houses in Chicago right under your nose. And now I'm going to show you how. I'm holding a free seminar right here in the Chicagoland area where I'll give a select few the opportunity to use my funding to flip houses and net up to $40,000 per deal without spending a dime of your own money. You don't need good credit and you don't need any of your own money. If the deal is good, you'll get the funds. The first 100 people to call 844-MONEY40 and register will receive my Blueprint to Real Estate Wealth System for free. All you have to do is find a great deal and pass it on to me, and I'll give you $10,000. Time is running out. Seating is very limited. Call 844-MONEY40. That's 844-MONEY40.
8:35 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. In Wheaton, there's a crash on Geneva Road at Purnell. That's just east of Gary, and Geneva Road is closed there. It's right by Wheaton North High School. Eden's inbound, slow Foster to the junction. 24 minutes like Cook to Montrose, outbound 19. The Kennedy is much improved. 39 minutes O'Hare to downtown, outbound 25. Inbound side of the Eisenhower running 53 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound delay free. East Stevenson, 48 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 5. Ryan, 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, stop and go Irving Park to Chicago Avenue. Northbound heavy from the Stevenson to Jackson. Northbound Tri-State slow from the Stevenson to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway, stop and go Barrington to Meacham. Veterans Memorial a little heavy, 75th for the Reagan Tollway. Southbound 53 had a crash just reported at Beesterfield. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. A warmer day ahead, clouds and sunshine, a high 55, clouds and a bit of rain toward dawn overnight, low 44. 36 at O'Hare, 42 along the lakefront. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Illinois Rising, hosted by Dan Proft and the Illinois Policy Institute. Sunday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, don't be caught without the facts. Listen to me, Sean Hannity, this afternoon at 2, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, Dan, you always tell our viewers or make suggestions to our listeners about what articles they should read, and I'm going to tell people they should read today's Chicago Tribune, the op-ed. You wrote a wonderful op-ed about Denny Hastert. The title is Dennis Hastert and the Comatose GOP, but you proposed some excellent questions in this article about if Denny Hastert wasn't the former House Speaker but a nameless sexual predator, would Zach Fardin have handled the case the same way?
Yeah, there's some questions that I would like answers to from the U.S. Attorney's Office. But I know, Amy, that when you hear Bennett Academy, which is, of course, the best high school in the state of Illinois, one of the best in the Midwest, really the nation, globally, you think my name is synonymous with Bennett.
Right.
But let me disabuse you of the notion. There are more important people that have gone to Bennett Academy than me. I know that comes as a surprise to you. Frank Kaminsky.
Oh, yeah. Frank the Tank.
That's right. Diablo Cody.
Oh, yes.
Patrick Collins.
Yes.
Patrick Collins, former assistant U.S. attorney during the Patrick Fitzgerald tenure, now a partner at Perkins Coie in Chicago. Patrick Collins joins us now. Thank you for joining us, Patrick.
Thanks, Dan. That's the best introduction I've ever had.
You're very welcome. So to the Denny Hastert case, that a plea bargain that has been struck where he faces only, according to reports, only up to 6 months in prison. You think that's justice?
Well, the hardest the reason it's so hard to answer that question, Dan, with a yes or no is we don't know the facts. I mean, we don't know what the U.S. Attorney's Office knows. And, I mean, for me, as someone who's, investigated public corruption for 12 years, the key question for me, which has completely been unanswered by this prosecution so far, is, whatever Denny Hastert allegedly did was when he was not a public official, when he was a Yorkville teacher, and then the agreement he entered into with Individual A, however that's to be characterized, that occurred after he was a public official. But to me, the real unanswered question is, what was the relationship between Individual A and Hastert while Hastert was a public official? And, was he on any payrolls? Did he get him a job? Was there any sort of agreement while he was a public official that Individual A would forbear on this? And certainly the amount of money, $3.5 million, is not because Denny Hastert's a retired person. It was because presumably had something to do with the fact that he's a public official. So I'm rambling a bit here, but I can't answer your question because I don't know the most important facts on this case. And whether the public should know or not, I mean, reasonable minds could disagree on it. If I was knowing what's in the public domain, I think the Hastert prosecution was appropriate. Is the sentence appropriate? I mean, for the government to recommend 0 to 6 months means the government, I think, doesn't believe the underlying conduct was, heinous, because it's hard to believe that they would recommend such a sentence.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the questions that you raise are good questions, but the other question, I mean, they characterize the past quote unquote misconduct. They introduced that when they leaked the indictment, and or as part of the indictment when they made that public back in May, and the insinuation was pretty obvious, particularly given as you referenced the amount of money we're talking about, and there's been no response to this point. So, just playing hypothetical for a second, since we don't know, I agree with you. If they believed that, but for the statute of limitations, they would have a case with respect to the underlying misconduct, then if you're in that position, if the statute of limitation precludes you from going after, let's say, sexual misconduct charges, sexual assault charges, molestation charges, then wouldn't you take the structured bank withdrawal charges, which carry a maximum of 10 years for the two accounts, and essentially employ the getting Al Capone on tax evasion approach, which is let's max him out on what we can prove, what we have him dead to rights, because we know we can't claw back and get him on the real grotesque underlying crime?
I mean, certainly that rationale makes sense to me as a former prosecutor, and it presupposes that this underlying conduct was particularly heinous, and it's just we just don't know the answer to that. I mean, remember the prosecution of John Burge, the police commander? I mean, they got him on lying in his deposition, basically perjury, when clearly they went after him.
Because of the brutality.
Because of the brutality and the torture. And so, yes, I mean, I think there's all sorts of examples where, and Al Capone is the one that's often cited, but there are all kinds of examples where federal prosecutors, state prosecutors, go after quote-unquote bad guys and get them on whatever they can because the real bad conduct is outside their reach. So, and I don't fault that logic, frankly, but the problem is we really don't know what happened back at Yorkville High School. We don't know what transpired in between, which I would argue, if you look at this from Denny Hastert, Speaker of the House, is the most salient issue. And we don't know the nature of their communications afterwards. I mean, was this individual really shaking down Hastert, which makes Hastert partially a victim as well? So, again, I think the dissatisfaction a lot of people have with the case is because we don't know the facts. The folks doing the case, I know them, I trust them, I think they're good people. Do they have an obligation to sort of say more to us? Reasonable minds could disagree. I would argue yes, if it's tethered to the public corruption. I would argue if he's a private citizen, I'm not sure how much we really get to know about this case beyond what the parties decide to tell the court.
Patrick, is there any chance in the world details may emerge during the sentencing in February?
I think there are. I think, however, I think it's unlikely to be the kind of details we're talking about here. I mean, Judge Durkin is another variable here. I mean, before he sentences Hastert, I mean, he could demand to know the details about individual A.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to sentence this man. Does he give him probation? And keep in mind, he doesn't have to give him 6 months. He can go up to the statutory max of 5 years. Durkin can't, Judge Durkin. So that's another variable here that would, again, for us who sort of want to know, another way that folks can learn more details. But it could all be that, the government, and I think the government's embarrassed about the leaks. They crafted this indictment to say misconduct, and I agree with you, Dan. It was certainly suggestive, but they didn't say sexual misconduct, and then they had some agents in some part of the government leaking, and that's improper, and that was unfair to Mr. Hastert. So I think the government probably wants this case over. Hastert clearly wants this case over.
Well, I don't think the leaks were, I appreciated the leaks because that made us realize that something happened to individual A when he was his wrestling coach and he was.
Well, again, I'm as a journalist, I know you appreciate the leaks, but it's not supposed to happen that way. It should either be in the indictment, or be in a court filing. It shouldn't be backdoored. I mean, they could have put it in the indictment. They chose not to. They shouldn't be allowed to backdoor it. So I guess that's how I'm talking about it.
We're talking to former Assistant U.S. Attorney Patrick Collins. You remember him from the Patrick Fitzgerald era. He's now a partner at Perkins Coie downtown. So if you were prosecuting this case as part of any sentencing recommendation, would you say to Denny Hastert, as part of your allocution when you're sentenced in February for this deal, for our sentencing recommendation to be offered up, you have to include a description of what you're being extorted over, what this is all about?
Yeah, again, I can't answer that, Dan, only because I don't know the facts. And I would say that the more heinous the facts are, I think the more obligation I would feel as a prosecutor, again, not to get individual A's name out there, but to give some description of the conduct, particularly, again, if it had a nexus to Hastert's public service.
Yes.
And I think again, the government knows that stuff and we don't, and that's why it's fun to speculate, but it's, I think, unfair to say yes or no to questions because we don't know the facts.
Well, that's right, but I mean, but then it's even more incumbent on Zach Fard. I mean, we pay his salary just like we used to pay Denny Hastert's, and he was the third most powerful person in the Western world for a decade. And if he was compromised at that time, if whatever is darkness in his past was informing the judgments he made as House Speaker, then those questions should be asked and answered by the combination of Hastert and Fardin, and maybe by Fardin leveraging Hastert to do just that.
Well, again, reasonable minds could disagree. I know Zach very well, and I think he's an honorable public servant, and I think I would bet my last penny that he's asked those questions, or his agents and prosecutors have asked those questions. It just may be that the answers to those questions are not, are not fulsome enough that they can come out. I mean, keep in mind, prosecutors have an obligation. I mean, I knew all sorts of stuff as a prosecutor that, the public, it would have been nice for the public to know, but if you're investigating a public official, if you have grand jury power, if you don't have enough to indict that person, you don't get to talk about their conduct.
Right.
And the price of a grand jury subpoena is secrecy, and it's in fact a violation of federal law to take something you get from the grand jury process and bring it out into the public, unless it's part of an indictment or a motion. So the rules are pretty clear, and I completely agree with you. As a citizen, I want to know. I want to know if Hastert was compromised. I want to know what this 3.5 was based on. I want to know if individual A was on a public payroll. Was he on a private payroll that Hastert arranged? Was he taken off a payroll? Is that what caused him to shake him down? I want to know all those things, and I would bet my last penny that Fardin's people have asked those questions, but it may well be that the answers aren't clear enough for the government to come out and say what those answers are.
He is Patrick Collins, former assistant U.S. attorney, renowned Bennett Academy graduate, and now a partner at Perkins Coie downtown. Patrick, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Sure, thanks. Thanks, Amy. Bye-bye.
And he joined us on our turnkey Top Pro answer line.
miss Freedom Summit Chicago 2015 on November 14th with Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland. Get your tickets at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Coming up next, my new home. There's a cat cafe coming to Chicago. We have all the details. But first, here's your forecast today. Plenty of sunshine, a high of 55 degrees. Tomorrow for trick-or-treating, not so nice. It's more of a trick than a treat, that's for sure. It's going to be breezy, rain at times, cooler, a high of 52 degrees. And then Sunday for the Bears-Viking game, it's going to be great. Pleasant, warmer, plenty of sunshine, a high of 64. And don't forget daylight savings time. More time at the bar for Dan. But here now, with the travel times, it's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks. Cheers. Good morning, Amy and Dan. Happy Halloween. On 83, we're seeing heavy delays northbound from I-55 to 63rd. Traffic signal problems. Southbound jammed 55th to 63rd. Eden's inbound stop and go Foster to the junction. 24 minutes like Cook to Montrose. Outbound 19. The Kennedy, 49 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound just 23. The Eisenhower is 1 hour from Thorndale to downtown. Outbound it's fine. The Stevenson, 44 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, very slow between Irving Park and Chicago Avenue. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
If you have problems snoring at night, if you have headaches, if you have neck pain ever during the day, insomnia, allergies, you should really get a pillow from MyPillow. It's American made, it conforms to your neck and back, and it helps with those allergies. Here's Sam, who doesn't suffer anymore.
No tossing and no turning during the night. That really helped me get through a good night's sleep because I've got some bad allergies, and the pillows I've used before have not helped them, but the MyPillow really did. I could see a difference there, which, in turn, stopped the tossing and turning at night.
So MyPillow is washable, and it keeps its shape to give you support where you need it most. Sam is an AM 560 listener and a MyPillow lover like myself. Right now, go to MyPillow.com, type Amy in the promo code, and you'll get 2 pillows for the price of 1. Now, this offer is not going to last forever, so if you've been thinking about doing it, do it now. MyPillow.com, promo code Amy. Again, 2 pillows for the price of 1. Or you could call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
I hate veggies, so this was a perfect way to get vitamins and veggies that worked with my body.
I do feel better, but as far as health-wise goes, I used to have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. I'm not doing that anymore. The ringing in my ear is a lot less than what it used to be. Those are the 2 things right away that I noticed, and I'm not as hungry as I used to be also.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
This is a public announcement to all vermin, to all rats, mice, bats, squirrels, and raccoons. If you just made yourself at home in someone else's home, you'd better hope the owners never hear about Terminix, because Terminix has the know-how and the means to do whatever it takes to remove you from that home permanently. Terminix is the most trusted, most effective pest exterminating company in the country, and right now they're making it easier than ever for homes to be protected by offering free pest controlling information and a guaranteed solution to every caller at 1-800-922-7545. Rats, mice, and other vermin. This is your eviction notice. With one call, Terminix will remove you from the home you've invaded. If you think you can simply come back later, think again. Terminix will seal off that home from roof to basement so you can never return. Limitations may apply. Warning. Homeowners are calling Terminix right now for free pest controlling information and a guaranteed solution at 1-800-922-7545. 1-800-922-7545.
Coming up next, it's me, Mike Gallagher, right after Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560, The Answer.
Amy Jacobson's Cat Stories.
So disturbing.
Oh, it's so exciting. I can barely control myself. I am so excited about this new cafe that's coming. It's coming to Chicago, and this is for real, folks. It's going to be in West Rogers Park. I already know the address, 7225 North Western Avenue. And it's going to be a cat cafe.
Follow the kitty litter.
Stop it. So basically, they have pet cafes, popping up everywhere. But this one for cats, they have one in New York City. Guess what it's called?
I don't want to guess.
The Meow Parlor.
How darling.
They have one in Soho.
No, you mean they're serving cats as food?
No, it's a cafe where you could bring your cat, or you can just pet cats that are there.
Will they clean and fillet your cat if you bring it, though?
Will you stop it?
Oh,
Don't ruin this, my Warm and Fuzzy.
Oh.
Thank you.
Warm and Fuzzy are the names of your two cats.
In Soho, they have, it's called Little Lions. Oh, it's so cute.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so
You
cute.
can
I
just
can't
eat it
stand
up.
So Chicago is finally getting its
Tartar
own
sauce.
feline-filled coffee shop. They don't have a name for it yet. Don't say tartar sauce. I heard that. It's a $7 million state-of-the-art rescue and shelter facility and cafe. The Treehouse Humane Society hopes to break ground on the cafe next month. But we only have raised, we still need $2 million to build the center. So it's
It'd be
a
nice
center.
to get these cats out of the studio and over to that shelter.
It's a cat cafe where there's 150 cats. So there'll be some cool cats when you order your Meow Chiato. Get it?
Oh, my gosh.
And you can sit there and play with the cats. Oh, I'm so excited. They'll offer coffee, of course, tea, and snacks. And the new building, again, is going to have enough room to shelter 150 cats. They're going to have a veterinary clinic, a pet food pantry, and adoption rooms. But you can actually just sit down and sip your coffee, and cats will be walking around. Oh, my God.
And they'll have MC Scat Cat on a continuous loop. That'll be the musical.
What could possibly be better than this? To have a place. Imagine, Dan, sitting back, sipping your coffee and chilling with all the cats. I mean, this is the best thing that has possibly has ever happened to me.
So since the only two people that are going to be going to this cafe are you and my dad, how much is coffee going to be? About $30,000 a cup?
I mean, I hope I can stay all day and get, because it's absolutely perfect.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Attention market watchers. Until recently, the market hadn't seen back-to-back days of 500-point losses since November of 2008. What if you had no market exposure? What if you didn't have to worry about the markets? How would you sleep? Leave the volatility behind. Hi, this is Jack Taboda. Our proprietary income strategies provide reliable, inflation-protected income, guaranteed for life, with no market exposure. Call me at 630-777-7955. That's 630-777-7955. You've worked hard to build your wealth. I work hard to protect it. 630-777-7955.
Insurance products may be presented and guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the insurance company represented. Securities offered through ProEquities Inc., a registered broker-dealer and member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Harvest Investment Services LLC, a registered investment advisor. Taboda and Associates and Harvest Investment Services LLC are independent of ProEquities Inc.
Do you ever wake up and say, I wish this bag under my eye would just go away? Well, if that sounds like you every day, you are not alone. Bags and puffiness under the eyes are a problem for millions of American men and women until now. Introducing the new Genucel serum with plant stem cell technology from Chamonix. They use the plant stem cell from a Swiss apple to make your skin shine. I use it. My sister uses it. We've noticed it works. Trust me. And with its instant effects, which is a separate product, you'll see results in the first 12 hours or your money back. They guarantee it. So call now and save big on Genucel's risk-free introductory offer. What do you have to lose? If you don't like it, send the product back, but I know you will love it. Call 800-525-8323. That's 800-525-8323. Call now and you'll get the amazing Esotique face cream as a special gift simply by placing your order. That number again, 800-525-8323, 800-525-8323.
Founded in 1922, Unico National is the largest Italian-American service and charitable organization in America with over 120 local chapters in 22 states. Its volunteer members support scholarships, cancer research, mental health, Cooley's anemia, and many local causes while celebrating their Italian heritage. Chicagoland Unico chapters invite you to this special free event. Rediscover your Italian heritage. Wednesday, November 4th at Casa Italia in Stone Park. Join your neighbors of Italian heritage for an evening of enjoyment with Italian food tastings, Italian lessons, cultural info, and more. Plus the opportunity to join Unico. This is a free event, but reservations are required. Call 1-800-947-0137 to reserve your spot. 800-947-0137 or visit unico.org. That's unico.org. Unico National. Rediscover your Italian heritage. 800-947-0137 or unico.org. That's unico.org.
Thanks so much for listening. Have a happy and safe Halloween. Here's Mike Scott.
Sunny skies set for this afternoon and a high temperature of 51. WIND Chicago News Time is 9 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Senators